Let the record show that all commissioners are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I need a motion.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion. Second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody. Thank you. All right, next, item 5, first public hearing on the proposed budget for the fiscal year.
She's not here, it's all right.
For fiscal year 2017-2018. Anybody want to speak for or against it? You're welcome to, public.
Can I read a statement into the
Sure.
record? The goal of our department has always been and will continue to be prompt, professional, inclusive response to citizens' complaints, as well as routine requests for service from builders, on-site sewage facility installers, elected officials, and the public in general. Our county is growing in leaps and bounds. Every permit license required by either the county or mandated by state law is acquired through our office. Building permits, sign permits, development and floodplain permits, vendors permits, on-site sewage facility permits, electrical permits, sometimes referred to as certificates of compliance, all require a minimum of 2 or more on-site inspections. On the drawing board for the fiscal year 2017-2018 are several large projects. Our department has already approved the designs and is in the process of inspecting one of the 5 on-site sewage facilities that will be installed at various facilities at Devil River State Park. Because of the distance involved from our office to the work sites, plus the complexity of design, one of my inspectors will be tied up in this project alone for an indefinite period of time. Our department has been contacted by 2 separate consulting firms, each representing companies that tend to cross our county with pipelines, one liquid crude, the other gas. This, again, will occur during the fiscal year 2017-2018. Not only will this result in development and floodplain permit inspections or permit inspections, but extreme vigilance that no hydrostatic testing water is discharged in any of the watersheds in Val Verde County. Due to the recent wet years, citizens' complaints have mounted in regards to overgrown vegetation, dilapidated structures, and illegal dumping that harbor health risks such as rodents, snakes, and mosquitoes that we all know carry Zika and West Nile virus. Our goal is to be proactive rather than reactive. However, based on our current and anticipated workload, not only will it be impossible to be proactive, but the scheduling of annual leave for my staff and myself is virtually impossible, not to speak of any unanticipated illness. Thank you.
Question. We ask questions, can't we?
Yeah. Public hearing.
Yep.
We can all talk and ask questions.
Okay. You're asking for a new position.
I'm just
But you're asking for a new position. We used to have a position in that department. What is our, you talk about permits up in the northern end of the county, and I realize they're very far to go. What is our fee structure to charge those people?
very good, Commissioner. It's not, and we're in the process. By the October meeting, I will bring to the Commissioners Court comparisons of other, I think our fee structures are low to answer your question.
You know, here's my issue with everybody comes to this court and asks for money, which I'm okay with. But we have to look at ways to fund those. and fees and those types of things. I mean, you talk about dirty lots, there's fines and fees associated with that. You know, a fee structure to check a septic tank out by the lake should be one thing. A fee structure to drive to 140 miles from here is a whole other thing. I understand the time and the effort it takes to tie up our staff, not just in your department, but every department. I think all departments have to start looking for ways to come up with their ability. They have ability to charge fees, fines, there's all kinds of mechanisms to fund these things. We had the same conversation with the fire department. You know, there's ways that we can charge for these wrecks and stuff like that to offset these costs so that we can get the staff and the salaries and the supplies that we need. I think every single department, and this isn't directed at you, but every single department needs to go in and look at their fees and fine structures and the way that they operate and come up with solutions of how we're going to fund these additional things that need to be funded. And I think within the bounds of that, I do know when we used to have an employee, the extra employee, there was a lot of stuff going on. We were building permits were crazy. Plating was every single commissioner's court meeting. Some of that has gone away, but there's still additional work, and so these, you know, to go up and deal with these pipelines, and I understand that's a long ways up there, and I get it, and we need to be there. There has to be a structure in place that recovers our cost to go do it, because that is related to that individual. It's not a public issue, it is an individual issue. It affects the public, but the individual that needs the service should have to cover the cost for that service. So we need to look at those fee structures, and that's every single department in this county, and making sure that we can get as close. I understand we'll never get 100%. I get that part. But we need to get as close as we can to covering these costs based upon real-world numbers. So, yeah, if you can put something together on our fee structure, because I think it is low in some areas, and I think you need a multiple fee structure, because the cost to go to that park up there, it's expensive. I get it. It's a long way. It's an all-day endeavor. But to go up there for $100 makes no sense. You know, it's not covering our costs when you got to make 4, 5, 6 trips up there to deal with it. You know, so we need to get as close as we can.
I agree 100%, Commissioner. In fact, we've already had this conversation, and my assistant health inspector is in the process of contacting other counties to determine what other counties are charging. And I agree that some of our fees can be adjusted. There's a couple of the different, for example, certificates of compliance, that's mandated by Texas Governmental Code, and also our vending permit fees, but the ones that are eating us alive time-wise are the ones that you're referring to, and we're in the process of reviewing those. And
I agree, and every department needs to get out of the habit of coming to this court and expecting the taxpayers to pick up the tab when they're sitting there with funds that are available to fund some of this stuff. You know, and that's not your department, but there's other departments that we'll discuss later today.
We had, Commissioner Nelson, we had visited, well, as a matter of fact, Roger called me last week, and I mean, this pipeline, like he said, it's going to take up a lot of time. And what we're charging right now just is I mean,
that was the fee set by the court.
Drops in the bucket. I mean, it's minimal.
And then you need to figure out what the cost of that employee is, and then we need to assess that cost, because that employee is going to be dedicated to dealing with this issue. That cost needs to be assessed back to the pipelines or whoever it is that is having to deal with it.
Well, just one thing I'd like to add in closing is, and everything that you said is well taken, Commissioner. However, basically, every single thing that you do, with the exception of enforcing the health and safety code, winds up in adding tax base to our county. Thank you very much.
And I agree with you, Commissioner. I think we also found out, found out that sometimes we're not charging the fees at all. You know, and I've met with Chief Russ today, this morning, and we're going to have it on the September meeting, how we can add charges to the insurance company for being out there 10, 12 hours, and we're not collecting any fees from them. You know, but the other, we found out the other communities, counties, are assessing the insurance companies when they go out for a wreck. We're not talking about just the fire. We're talking about go cover a wreck or something. I know she spent like 6 hours one time and didn't collect any money, so we need to look into things like that, and I agree with you 100%.
What irritates me, Judge, is this conversation's been going on for at least 10 or 12 years of trying to get this fixed, and we're just now dealing with it. And so I don't think that the taxpayers should have to pay more and more and more and more and more money because we don't want to do the parts that we have to do. You know, and it's very irritating.
Go ahead. Lee, go ahead.
Good morning. I'll try to live with what I got, okay? I'm going to be sending voter cards this year. That's one of the reasons I upped my postage. But if I don't make it, I don't know where I'm going to get money. There's a maintenance fee for my software, and they've advised me since like May or June how much it's going to go up. And I'd just like to know if that could be respected, because I pay this in a quarterly basis, and I just really like this in 4 parts, and that's how I pay it. Then if it's, from 25, it's 26.
Lois, what page is your budget?
Pardon?
What page is your budget? Did you have the bottom, on the bottom right-hand corner, what page is your budget?
Let me see.
I'm sitting here fumbling and that's not working.
Page 84 of 292.
Did you bring copies for all of us? No, I'm just kidding.
Did you bring copies for all of us?
I did, no.
But mine,
About yours?
You're talking about the computer maintenance,
the computer maintenance.
which we have
Which is
$25,550.
what I had for last year, but of course, every year goes up. And, out of the 26,000 you see there, I paid in 40 payments, and, that's divided in 4 parts, and that's how I pay it.
How much is it that you're gonna need?
It's, I believe it's $958.
How much?
$958.
$958, but in your special fund, you have a ending balance after expenditures of $7,700. Is there a particular reason we don't get it out of there?
Oh, which one's that?
This is chapter 19 and VIT.
I cannot use chapter 19 for this, I'm sorry. That's just for voter registration.
But didn't you just say you needed more money for voter registration?
For the postage.
For the postage?
I
Well, we
cannot
can't
use
get it
that
out
money
of,
for postage either.
but if it's for voter stuff, why can't we use it for postage? And I don't have a sheet sitting in front of me that says what we can and can't use it for.
So
You heard it,
I
ma'am.
cannot use it for.
The chapter 19?
Okay.
Yeah, that's just for training for voter registration and anything related to voter registration.
Anything
Anything related?
Anything? Yeah, let me read
There's
it.
a lot of no's.
Anything's a pretty wide. Now, what's the VIT?
Vehicle inventory tax.
Okay. And that money can be used for,
Anything related with vehicle inventory.
vehicle inventory, what does that mean?
When you buy a car, you pay a certain tax,
Mm-hmm.
vehicle inventory. And, the dealerships pay this on a monthly basis,
Mm-hmm.
and then we don't pay it out until the following year in January.
Okay, but we keep a portion of it,
I just keep the interest,
the interest on the money.
which is very little. I have not used it until I got my video cameras.
So this is money you collect, sits in an account, and then you send it where it belongs.
Yes.
I guess I'm assuming the state.
No, well, that same money goes to the entities. They pay the tax.
And then you let it sit in an account, draw interest, and then you get to keep the interest off of it.
Very little, yes.
And I forgot what sheet. Do y'all have those?
You already printed out. I mean, I have it, I'm looking at it here.
If you don't mind, it would be, I have it, but I don't know what I did with
Do
it.
y'all have an extra copy of today's budget? Because I'd like one of those. Somebody else was going to. It's not a secret, you guys are talking about it. Come on.
Say that out loud, so we can hear it.
It's used to defray the cost of voter registration, may be used to pay for any item of service designated to increase the number of registered voters in the state, maintain and report an accurate list of number of registered voters, or increase the efficiency of voter registration office, including hire temporary employees.
So any of those expenditures, including these cards, can be paid out of that deal. What do we spend every year sending out voter registration cards? Do we know?
See, because the postage that I get is not only for voters.
No, I understand, but we can break it out. It's not impossible to do.
Let me see.
Anything's
About
possible.
9,000.
You spend $9,000 a year sending out voter registration. And you take it out of postage right now, which is the 25,000, and you need an extra $1,000, but yet we have $7,000 sitting there, so I think you should come out of there.
Okay. I will try doing that, but if I run out of it, I will let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you mean if we run out of it? We need to, well, I understand. That's what we
No,
can
I
do
don't
whatever we
understand,
want.
I don't understand that. As you run out, it's only $1,000, you got $7,000.
But we need to amend that budget that we are presented with, that chapter 19 budget, to add, postage in there and add $1,000.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for that?
Why don't we just do a motion, it'll be on the books.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the additional $1,000 for postage for voter registration come out of chapter 19, and that budget is amended to add postage of $1,000 and to adjust those numbers.
Need a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? Aye. Jenny, did you wanted to make a presentation, Jenny?
Yes, I just didn't know if somebody else was ahead of me or not.
No.
I was just
Go ahead.
questioning this.
I got a list.
You got a list?
I got all kinds of questions for you.
Well, hopefully I have answers. I don't promise to have all the answers. I'm not this skinny, so I'm going to move this a little bit. I hope it doesn't move that.
It was all right.
Okay.
She brought copies.
Oh, man, y'all getting them too small.
I tried. That's what I was trying right now.
Bring a magnifying
Bigger.
glass.
Get it bigger. Okay, I put this together because I've been sitting here for 10 years listening to questions about records management, records archive. I know I'm one of the ones that has the most amount of money, and questions as to whether or not those are being used appropriately or not. So I figured I'd put this together for you. The first page is all revenue that has come into my office and that comes to my office on a yearly basis. And I know that there was a question that you all were considering when you were doing your budget calculations earlier that spoke about that several departments were being reduced in terms of the amount of money that it brings in. Mine is not one of those. If you look, I've compared from 2007 to 2015 on the bottom for you.
The one you could put up there. Maybe.
I don't know how to work this.
I'll just throw it up there, and then we flip it. Just turn it around the other way.
This way? No, this way,
That'll work.
right there.
Thank you.
And then I'm crooked.
You do know how to work it.
It's all right.
There you go. Okay. Now, let me get my other copy. so I can follow. And we are pretty much in line this year. The top part tells you how much has come in so far this year. So by the end, we have 2 months to add to that. We got August and September. So I figure we're pretty much in line with the other years in terms of how much money is going to be coming into the office. So the column in the middle, and I know those are hard to, how do you,
You can adjust that when you turn the knob, it'll go
the other way?
the other way.
Ooh, I held it down too much. The columns in the middle tell you more or less how many recordings we've had so far this year in comparison to other years. If you'll go to the bottom, those are other years, the top is the current year. So, that kind of much, that has dropped. If you look at the bottom ones, our biggest year was in 2007 when we had almost 9,000 documents recorded. We are at maybe 5,000 right now, so that's like 4,000 short. In the criminal, the collections is down. If you look, there's an 81,982 so far, with 2 months to go. So we most likely will hit our lowest year, which was back in 2012, 2013, which brought it to 117,000. But we're still going to be over that 100,000. In civil, we're, I think, pretty much in line. We're probably going to hit the 60,000 that we had last year by the end of the year with 2 months. Again, we're missing 2 months. And we've had an increase in the civil cases, which I have put over to the side because of e-filing coming in. Over on your right side, you see e-filing, and see it doesn't pick it up very well. But anyway, there's a 591, which indicates the number of cases that have come in through e-file, not just walk-in, okay? In probate, again, we're pretty much in line with the other years. When we add the 2 months to it, it's pretty much going to come to what we collected last year. And then we have the number of cases, we're at 53, but part of that 591 is coming in for probate through the e-filing also. Now, I put copy fees next to it because it's one of our biggest income makers that comes into the office. If you look at the other years, our highest year was 2011, 2012, 48,000, but that's because that's when we had those oil people in my office all the time. But we're at 20,800 right now with 2 months to go.
And now that copy fee money goes straight into the general fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it is included in the total up here under the clerk's number.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is the marriage license fee. That it fluctuates. We're at we're at 12,398.95, and our biggest year was 16,000. So we have 2 months to go. So most likely we're going to hit anywhere between 12 and 14. It's a little short.
Those
Again,
should go up. The judge is doing a real good job.
I knew you were gonna-
the judges do not deposit their money with me.
No, but he married a lot of people, so
That's the money that we get
Don't
to
say
issue the
Not
license.
saying nothing.
That is not the fee for
I know,
performing.
I'm just
You gave me a
playing.
hard
I'm just playing.
Off the
Tell
record.
me, he's funny
Off the
when you're
record.
doing
Jenny, I
that.
keep telling them, I'm trying to fix the immigration problem by getting married out.
There's always two answers to the
He said off the record, but we're being recorded. Too late.
Too late. Okay, again, the marriage license fees go into the clerks, and it's included in the number that I've already calculated for you on the other side. The thing that is not on there, and I call it new revenue because we started, in 2012, we started recording, putting records, the property records on the internet. And so depending on the internet users that we get, determines the amount of rebate we get. We don't see that, we don't get that in a check, but they deduct it off of the monthly fee that we pay. The monthly fee is being paid out of records management, okay? So like for 2012 to 2017, we've seen $14,212 off of the
Mhm.
internet use, and the gross is $28,125. We split that in half with the vendor, because they maintain the website, they make sure it's all up to date, they make sure it's updated every time we have new records. It's done on no more than 2 days. Within 2 days, the website is updated. The highest number of users that we have had in 1 month is 57 users. So our goal is to raise that number so that it raises the revenue that comes in to us. I think that's all I have for right now. Again, all these numbers are missing 2 months, because we're 2 months, we're not getting the rebate yet for August. We're not getting, until August closes out, we don't know what that's going to be. Now, the second sheet that I provided for you specifically breaks down records management and records archive. And it tells you what the expenditures have been from the records management and the records archive. If you can tell by the expenditures, I've tried to put in there what we did with that particular money. We have documentation on all of this. So you can tell that the expenditures from the records management are somewhat more flexible than the archive money. The records management money has been used, I'm going to put that up there, sorry. I'm going the wrong direction. I need practice.
No, that's okay. You're doing good.
There. Okay, and I'll move it up and down depending on the year. But I went back to 2007, which is a good guide. We've never done this before, and I really didn't think we could get all the numbers, but we have. I've got a really good bookkeeper. So if you can tell, the expenditures in the records management has been for the benefit of my office, either in generating more money, creating ways to get more money, or trying to fill in the gap where the county hasn't been able to provide everything that I need. If I had a wish list, it'd probably be way over this. But we can only do so much every year. So I want to make sure that the court understands that the money that is in my records management is being spent for the benefit of the office and for the benefit of the public. The biggest expense that you're going to find on there is the scanning project that we did, and that was reimbursing Valverde County. Everything was run through Valverde County, but the records management fund reimbursed the county for all the time that was spent doing that. And the reason we had to do that is because our goal was to put the records online, and there wasn't anything to put online. So we had to scan all those documents and put them online, okay? Some of it is the webpage that I started back in, I think it started in 2013, 2012, somewhere in there. In fact, that's still there, and we're using the email account still until we get this other project finished or completed. In the records archive is a little more strict. It doesn't give you a lot of flexibility as to what you can do with it. So mainly, I have been using it to preserve all the deed and property records, indexes, because those are the ones that are going on the webpage and in the internet. So if you don't have the books in some kind of shape, you really can't sell them over the internet. So that keeps our fee coming. So this is mainly for the preservation of records. And I know there was a question some time back. The reason you don't see anything between 2007 and 2012 on the archive is that frankly, I wasn't quite sure what we could do with it until I could get the scanning project done, which is when I started working with the archive, the Texas Archive Commission. And they finally told me about this plan. Well, evidently there's been a plan filed since 2009. All I had to do was update it back. And that's when you start to see the work being done, which is back in 2014 is when we started. All of that got worked out, got it done. Now, there is a misconception that we must have a hearing every year. We do not have to have that. If there are no changes to your record archive plan that you have on file and that has been received, you do not have to have a hearing every year, and I do have that in writing.
You have to have a hearing at some point, which we've never had.
No, yes, we have.
No, we do. We did. It's been about, we did it
2012?
12 or
12, somewhere in
2013.
there. But Maria Elena already had a plan filed with them.
Now, we can amend it and we can change it and require a hearing.
Depending on the records that you're going to be archiving, if they're not listed on the plan, that's when you need to come back.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about something else.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're
That's
talking about
okay.
records preservation and
No, records preservation, records archival too. But I do have that in the form of a written email, which I got clarified from them. And the only thing I see having to change it and having to have a hearing again is when we decide what to do with the electronic records that we started to get. And those are not to the point where we can't manage them yet, but at some point, we're gonna have to figure out how to preserve those too. That would be the time that the plan would need to be updated and have a hearing. And you can have it anytime. You may have it when there's a budget time, but it doesn't have to be at the time. It can be done at any time.
It's like, it gets confusing, right?
Yeah. No, but they straighten you out pretty well. If you try to do something, they want to know what you're proposing to do, and they'll tell you if it's something you can and can't do without a hearing. Okay. Do I have any?
I've got questions.
Yes, sir.
On your budget you submitted for records archive funding, you have 244,000 contract services. That's the contract that we have done.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And then you have records personnel 30,000. I'm assuming that's to hire people.
I don't have my budget right in front of me. Can I see it? And it's under archive? Okay, what this means is that if I have to get the books in some kind of shape before they take them to archive them, I can hire someone just to do that one
Okay,
thing.
but that's what the proposal is to hire an individual
Yes.
if we need to.
Yes,
Okay.
and the capital outlay is only for things that are gonna be used for the books, or whatever we're doing. Training is the same thing, supplies, if I need to get new books or whatever, all of that is coming into there.
And then on the fees that we charge under the County Records Management and Prevention Fund,
Mhm.
you charge the $5 and then we charge the $22.50? Or we don't charge the $22.50?
What is 2250?
It says $5 will be imposed on the defense, a conviction of an offense in a county court, or a county court at law, or a district court, and then it says $22.50.
I don't remember if we do that in the criminal
does
or
anybody
not.
else want?
What do we charge you? $5?
Can I borrow one while he's looking at exactly
This is
what?
not the budget, it's the special fee.
This is the special fund deal that we had Vicar staff go through for
We don't
us.
get copies of the entire budget.
We will get you one.
You want me to remember
What
what
you're
I
working on right
submitted? Okay, I'm not quite sure. I know that in the records archive, we put, you wanted a budget, so I gave you a budget. It's something that, I put every category that we normally have under the regular budget, we put it in there. But it is something that, we have to look at depending on what the expense is. If we can qualify it under the records archive rules, then we do try to take that out of there. It's the same-
I'm interpreting this to mean that we can charge 5, but there's a possibility of a 2250 in the district, but I'm not 100%.
You actually went more than that, because in either 14 or 15, the legislature passed a temporary increase in the records management. So you're not collecting $5, you're collecting like 20, I want to say, between the archive and that's only until 2019. In 2019, it's going to drop to $5 unless it's addressed again. So every year that the legislature meets, they make adjustments and they change it. And I know we're waiting on some right now. I don't know, but they did tell us to hold off on bringing our fees to the court because there were going to have to be some adjustments to them.
And I've got a question, and I don't know if you can answer it, because it's County Law Library Fund, maybe the counselor can. Do we charge a $35 fee for filing fees in civil cases for the County Law Library Fund? You collect it?
Yes.
You collect it, right?
Yes.
We do charge it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're pretty much current with what we can charge, except for a few places where this court hasn't ordered me to collect them, and I know there's some options. The problem with some of them, like for example, there's one that says that you can collect a fee to offset my errors and omissions,
Yes, I noticed that.
bond and
Yes.
things that you have to have. Well, but that says that you can only collect it until you collect enough to pay for it.
Yeah,
So somebody needs to be telling us when to put it on and when to take it off.
but we don't collect it,
No, not right now.
but we should collect it.
Yes,
Because I understand it only covers that, and you can only charge what that cost is.
right,
But currently, we're paying that out of the general fund.
yes.
So we should collect a fee to pay it and take that money out of the
As
general
long
fund.
as somebody tells me when to stop collecting it, because then you have to refund those people's fees.
That's an accounting issue. Is it possible to figure out how to accomplish that task? I don't know what our errors and omissions cost is.
I don't know, Mr.
No, I understand, and I understand you're not gonna be able to answer the question right this minute.
Did you get this?
No, sir.
I'm gonna give you mine.
Okay.
And it actually has all the fees that we can charge.
Okay. It really would be,
Giving it to you over the phone.
it would really be a good idea for all of us that have special funds to look at this, because we're doing the best we can to collect what we need to collect, but if we don't know what those are, and I know that the court spent a lot of money hiring somebody to tell us, and so it would be a very good idea for anybody that has the special funds to get a copy of this, so we know what we're doing or not doing.
No, I agree with you, and don't misunderstand, I think you've done a good job of
So the
doing what
blank
needs to be
ones?
done.
The blank ones are the ones that I'm not collecting? Is that the way this reads?
Which one was that?
Which one?
The blank, like if it doesn't have anything over here on the side?
The one
Oh,
that-
that's the one Matt
This
said.
one here. It's the one that they
Yeah,
get
Matt
back
was
to
good.
us. I was telling her
Did I
the ones that are blank are the ones
Yeah.
that you're not collecting,
Yeah.
and actually the errors and omissions is on there, the one that Commissioner Nelson.
Yes, and then there's also, I know, a county records management and preservation fund that's not being collected. I don't know what a county records preservation account is.
Well, it'd be something to look into. I mean,
Well,
that's what we
Preservation
would-
account,
I can tell you those judicial donation, case manager, juvenile is collected by the district clerk, because that's in district court, not in county court. I only handle the county court at law. And supplemental court initiation, graduation. Okay, actually, this guardianship fee is what I have on my list to add in September, but the judges have to approve it. The judges that do guardianships have to approve it, that I collect this fee. So that needs to be discussed with them first. Okay. Well, I can look at this. I had not seen this until right now, so.
and then your county clerk records management and prevention fund, it says fees for filing, or recording services of non-court related documents not to exceed $10. You know what we charge now? This is an optional fee set by the county clerk. Fees imposed on defendants convicted of offenses in the county or in the county court or county court at law of $2.50. This fee is mandatory.
Not sure, I didn't bring
No.
my fees
Okay,
binder,
that's fine.
so.
I can't believe that. You brought us graphs.
Yes, but my binder on fees is like this thick, because it shows the changes from when I started to now. But, I would say we probably are. So do you want to call that?
Wait, don't you have a printout with court costs?
Yes, but, I don't know if, the last one I have, well, I mean, if we want to have this discussion on these fees, I mean, on the court fees and what I'm collecting, I mean, I would appreciate being able to come back, because I do have a lot of information on that.
Oh, no, we don't have the discussion.
Jeannie, you're collecting the technology fee, right? In the district clerk? or-
Apparently the district clerk is not.
Yeah, somebody has it.
See,
It says county and district clerk technology fund, they're not, under the district clerk, there's zero.
I think a lot of the times when we started, we didn't know where to start. And so a lot of the fees were put together like by the vendor, by what another office did, and try to give that to us, and then we had to check them, and then we had to, then it took me a long time. And I know that my first set, the current fees that I have, they went through OCA. I sent them to OCA before I implemented the drawing here for approval.
Yeah, we don't have a long
Think
discussion,
then,
we'll get to
who
that.
have experience doing this stuff would know how to handle that.
The vendor goes by, say, Dallas, Austin, Big Bear County,
Can,
because they have like lots of them. Then they give you a starting point and say, start with these, because this is what they're charging in the big counties. And then you need to look them up, and you need to start doing your own research. And that's where we put it. I put in a lot of time trying to do that. It took me like 2 years just to do that, because it's a lot. Because I have them statute,
but when we hire
Well-
to do the, is it not?
that's why I gave up to Mr. Mendez,
y'all-
because they
y'all
have
did
the
see it, yeah.
statutes next to it. And sometimes the statute gets, ambiguous. And so I think.
I know that, I
in
know
my
that.
office,
It's not nebulous.
there are probably 3 fees that I'm not collecting that I should be collecting,
Which ones
out
are
of
those?
all of them. The errors and omissions, and again, it has conditions
Mhm.
that you can only collect it up until that point.
We have any idea what we pay for that Arizona mission? You're talking about insurance that you
Yeah,
pay.
it's some kind of interest, Mr. Cerny should know.
Yeah, it's $2 million.
No,
But
no,
that's
What's our cost?
Nothing. Our cost is,
Well, there has to be a cost.
there is no cost incorporated in omissions errors. County clerks, here 2 years ago, were taken off of, a fee schedule for us, so to speak, and just given to us.
Okay, but it's covered under ours, and out of the fees that we pay, or out of the cost that we pay for insurance, it's incorporated in there somewhere. It's not a fee structure, but it is incorporated.
Well, let me explain. It used to be it used to be
No, I
a
understand.
separate charge for
Yes.
that. And apparently, the losses were so low that one of the enhancements that they made on a public official liability insurance was just to.
No, they rolled it.
She used to have to and submit to me her total receipts, and then we were charged based on her total receipts.
No, I understand. They just rolled it in to ours. They just rolled it into ours, but there is still a cost associated with it.
Not for the county and district.
We're paying insurance, and it covers all of these different things. And what we're doing is we're just paying this big blanket number, and it covers all of this stuff.
Well,
So
we can get a breakdown of how much they charge for each thing, and then we can figure it out.
it doesn't hurt to look at it. It may not be 20, 30 bucks, and if it's not, then it's not worth arguing with. But if it's several hundred or several
I
thousand
know, I
dollars,
remember
it's worth having the
I
argument.
remember the errors and omissions starting
It's
because
gonna have a new section.
when I saw it, that we could charge it, the question was, who's gonna tell me when to stop collecting it? Because they're not gonna, have to start making refunds
No, I
to the
understand.
people that we collected from.
And what I'm trying to get to is we need to research it and see what it is, and it may not even be worth the time and effort to go after it, but if it is, it is.
Sometimes, being honest, some of these fees are not worth the bookkeeping you gotta do to keep track.
And I clearly understand that, but it doesn't mean you don't go look at them.
Well, since we're looking at all of them, I think we should be looking at them.
Can this be given out to,
Except for the letter.
okay.
There-
So we
there's
can-
Attached to it is the special fees, but the first part, the first 15 pages, it's an opinion.
Okay, so, but the rest of it, we can give out to all of the elected officials and let them look at it.
Mhm.
And it pretty well covers every possible
This
fee
one-
that we can charge.
This one here, actually is easier to read than that one.
Can I see that one? Because I never saw that.
And we're gonna get you a copy of it and bring you
Yeah,
a
I
copy of
And,
it.
and the one you put together went through this deal and found all the different fees, right?
I share all my stuff, and then shares it.
Okay,
Thing.
let me, in finishing up, there are, I think we've done probably 2 or 3 new revenue, I guess, services that are new, bringing in new monies to my office because of what we've done. And so one of those is the e-recording services, and we anticipate that's probably going to be even better because e-recording gets to keep all the fees, by the way, that they charge the person using, and the person pays the vendor, not us. But it helps us in that we get our money faster. We don't accept anything that doesn't have the fee attached to it. And so it helps them pay it faster and get it to us quicker. The other one is, of course, the website. At some point, we're putting in all the links that people can go to obtain their records online instead of having to call our office and getting them.
Yay.
Only certified copies are issued by my office. They cannot be issued over the webpage. And the other one is the plats that you all approved some time back, and you approved fees with that. It's been kind of slow, but once people start finding out that we can get you a plat whatever size you need, those generate quite a few funds also. The only thing I have to mention here is also that we've done a lot of work with giving access of our court files to the public and to the courts and to the other agencies that we work with. So those fees are also being absorbed by my office because it requires licenses for each department. We're looking at being able to give, especially the judges, access to their probate files. Probate's a little more difficult and a little more confidential thing, so I don't know that we're ready to put it up there, but at least a list of the cases with their numbers is
But
what
don't the
we
judges
want.
have access to that?
The judges do,
So online, they'll be able to have access to it too?
They do.
It would be limited to them, yeah?
yes.
Okay.
And we're still looking, I don't know if there's an answer out there. We're still looking at the question, I had a question about the minutes. I know we went back and did, all the way back to what, Cindy, 2014? I think we had done 2014 and put those on a CD for him to load, but there was a question when he loaded it as to something, and you guys were working on it, right? So I know they're working on at least putting that much. I don't know that we need to have all of them on there. It takes up a lot of space according to Ram, so we'll try to figure something out on that. Also, if you looked, I may mention that in my records management, I have used that fund a lot to supplement my office and the things that it needs. If you look also at my regular budgets, I have not requested or received anything in capital outlay since 2013, 2014 budget. So if there's anything I can do and I can qualify it and get it qualified under one of these 2 working funds, I do that.
And thank you for that.
Well, as long as I don't get in trouble, then I don't mind helping. So, does anybody have any other
Question,
questions?
you collect the juvenile case management fund?
No, the district court. I don't handle juvenile cases.
They all go through the district court.
Was the county court allowed that to happen?
Yeah,
If
because
the
they
judge handles
just
it.
deferred to him.
Yes.
He wanted to handle it, and the district judge just said, fine.
So then they do go through there, but then the district court collects it?
Right.
Yes,
It's just
I
like,
don't-
like divorce is the same thing.
yes, I don't
They're
handle
heard by
the,
statute.
I don't handle the
Collects
files.
them.
I don't do anything for it. The clerk's up, the district clerk does.
And we don't know if they are or are not collecting.
I couldn't-
They probably are collecting, it's just sitting in an account like the rest of it, and it ain't been distributed.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's the distribution.
Because this says, the county clerk of the court in which the defendant was convicted shall.
Okay, they're
Collect
collected in
the
the
court.
district court.
It doesn't say the district clerk can
Yeah,
collect it.
but
It
the
says
problem
county
is-
clerk shall.
So, in some counties, juvenile cases are handled at the county level. In this county, they're handled by the district court, so they go through the district court.
And a truancy court, are you assuming we do or don't have a truancy?
We do
court?
not.
We do not have a truancy court. But y'all hear truancy cases. Nobody hears truancy cases.
They stopped referring them.
They stop.
Well, I think they stopped preparing them.
Wasn't there a change or something?
There was a change.
What happened was last year, when school started under this new law, they referred 6 cases to us. We cannot, as the JPs, we cannot review them, we can't do anything with them
Under the new law.
under the new law.
Mhm.
We must then send them to the county attorney or the district attorney if designated by the court, and they decide if they want to take the case or not. And Ms. Smith declined those 6 cases, and I sent them back to the school district, and they've never filed another one.
Because
They're civil, they're not criminal.
we met with the superintendent, and they said they weren't going to be sending us cases.
And that's fine, I'm just going through the list of stuff here.
Dorothy said they weren't going to be sending us
That's
cases.
probably all I have
Thank you, Jess.
for
You're
you.
welcome.
But had they sent cases, we would ask for another prosecutor, this is the law. So, I had a question about the technology fund. That's what I was talking about, the hearing. Have we had a hearing for expenditures of the technology fund?
Not in a while.
And that's the one that's
Yes,
required every
every
year.
year. And we,
If you can't expend technology money unless you had a hearing and set a budget during this time.
And who has the hearing? The one that collects the fee or the one that's gonna spend the money?
I'm assuming the court, commissioners,
Because I don't-
because the technology fund is controlled through the commissioners court,
Right.
correct? And I've got it in here.
But we bring the item back
Yeah.
and correct it.
Just the county. The commissioner's court shall publish notice.
Can I have a copy of one of those reports, James, whenever they get down to it?
Janie,
Yes, sir.
I hate to do this, but we need to go back to the approval of minutes, because Commissioner Wardlow noticed that in one of your minutes, he put here, on both of them, he put Ramiro Viva on one Commissioner Precinct 1.
Oops.
So,
Not these, that's Mary. Okay.
okay, just to correct that.
It's not my fault.
All right, let's go back now to the first public,
Judge.
anybody else, anybody else want to say something on the budget? Yeah.
You'll be missing the public.
Just do that.
Just to, Commissioners, Judge, just to restate our position that our biggest need is manpower. I know the comments were made, and that's, the court's, we come up here and ask for what we need, but, at what point is the citizen safety, at risk? So our request, our number one priority remains manpower. Currently we're taking people off of shifts to cover communications because we're short of communications. So we're trying to catch up so that when we take somebody off of patrol, that's one less deputy on the street for a shift.
And one expensive communications person. one expensive communications person, because you pay them a lot more than the communications
Yes.
people.
We've had, we're having conversations, I don't see in the budget, an additional position, is that gone?
Right now it is.
Okay.
Well, I had it on my list. I didn't see, we'd actually added you sometime this year. We'd added a position, and I didn't see it in there.
So it got taken out?
Well, it can't be, because he's already getting paid. We added a position. What we did is, we were looking for somebody to go to the second floor for the JP, so what we did, we used the money for animal control at that time, and then during this this budget, the one we're working on right now for the following fiscal year, I got it right. We will have to add that position in here.
Which was the bailiff in the court.
But
Yeah.
that position's already filled?
Yes.
Okay, but you're talking about additional to that one, or that one?
Just that one,
Yeah,
I'd
it's
like to
not
have
in
that
here.
position back, we assigned a position.
Yeah, that's what I'm
To the
saying.
court.
It's on my list here, and we talked about it. I mean, it needs to be added to the budget.
Thank
Then also, I was looking at, there's not a salary for animal control, is that gonna be on?
There should be a salary for animal control. It should still be in there. That needs to be added back. What we would take out, on animal control, there's $28,167 that is added in here for building. That needs to come out, because the building, if you'll look at the account, it's almost bouncing on bottom anyway, so it's going to be spent. So you're not gonna have that recurring cost of the $28,000, because the building will be done. I mean, the two things in your department that I had was, the position that, bottom line, this court had already given you needs to be added. And then, the animal control, since we'd used the money for that other position, the animal control person needs to be put back in your budget. And then the $28,167 that is listed already as an expenditure for building needs to come out.
The county here, back in 2014, approved, the lease of tower space in Comstock. And those funds, it's a annual payment of $1,800. Could that be put back into the communication fund? I don't know, currently I don't know where it's going. The way it was set up, it was supposed to be, it's an annual, for the next 20 years, $1,800 coming into the county budget.
And there's actually, you have two of them, right? You have one that is the tower, and then one for trips also. Weren't we gonna get reimbursed for some trips going out of town or something?
We're looking at that one, Commissioner, still.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We're trying to get a number on that. But there was a July 2015 payment and a September 2016, and there's supposed to be an August 2017 payment of $1,800, supposed to be coming to the county. Well, I'd like to see that put back where it was intended to by the court, back into communications
So do we get to
tower repairs.
but specifically for tower repairs, do you have a line item for that, or?
I don't know how it was set up, Commissioner, previously. I don't know, where it ended up at.
It ended up as under miscellaneous.
So bottom line is you're gonna have 3 times the 1,800 here in a little bit?
Yes, sir. I'd like to have that back for the communication budget.
Okay. Would it, if you just put it in your communications budget, is it going to be just for repair on towers, or are you gonna use it within the budget and we can lower your budget by $4,000?
It's gonna be for repairs to that. That was the intent of those funds. To repairs to the generators, the equipment that's out there, light repair on those towers.
It's in there? It should be in the Sunday account. Okay. I mean, if you're gonna do that, I mean, I'd feel more comfortable if it was a line item just specific to that, not just rolled in all in one. That way we know exactly where it's going. If the court says to do the 1,800 times the 3 or whatever,
that you put it in a line item specific, that way if I'm sitting up here, a member of the court, I can actually see that what it's been spent on versus all rolled in together. Right? I mean, if not, we're not moving till we're at that.
Unless we break the account open.
I would feel more comfortable. I mean, why? Because I can't see it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. I noticed in special funds, there's a jail commission fund. Do we charge that? Or do we collect it, or we have it? A jail commission fund?
I believe we do, yes, sir, I don't know what that is, I have to check, I didn't bring my list of funds that we collect.
And that money goes, because it shows to be able to be used to pay for staff, equipment, social programs for prisoners, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, now that right there, I think that is included, somehow worked out with contract with Geo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they absorb it.
Yes,
And then your law enforcement standards and education account,
the TCO, yes, sir.
y'all charge for that, or y'all have that fund?
Yes, we do, we have that fund.
Where is that fund? It's not on this list.
Should be on the list.
Is it on your MAC list?
Okay, but it shows nothing. It shows that we don't collect it, we don't deal with it, we don't have it. That's what? Where's the money that comes into that?
That comes from
If it's a special fund, how are we absorbing it in the general fund? But where is it in the budget? It's not in the budget. So we have a fund without a budget. So we need to find it, figure out the budget, what it's being used for.
You got a minute? Can you look at this? I thought I already seen it, it's in there. In the room.
That's what I'm going.
Okay. On the animal control, the budget that I have, the bank salary, it's on here. Okay.
Commissioner, I'll get back to you and answer that.
Apparently, you get money allocated from the comptroller's allocated funds for general revenue funds, credited to the law enforcement officer standards fund. Apparently, there's money that comes in from somewhere.
And that goes into the training.
It goes into the training fund,
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming. And then I'm assuming we get a check, it's deposited somewhere, right? No, we don't get a check, it's not deposited. Yes. They get the check and then it's deposited with.
We have TCO accounts. I will get you the answer, Commissioner.
All right.
My page 81 doesn't have the same numbers as your page 81.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry, I'm causing chaos. See, the issue is that there's a budget that's filed in on the website, but they're working off of it. So I just wanted a copy of from the different.
Which was an amended, the original budget, we changed at the last commissioner's board.
Right, but it's not on the website. So I'm trying to get a copy and.
That's what,
You want the amended, the one that we're working.
You need
Rosa, would it be possible, the budget that we're looking at right now, which was the amended budget with the 5% cuts and everything, could you get that copy to the county attorney? Please.
like now.
Yeah, they can get you one if you want. You want to make copies?
Yes, so I can look at what you're talking about.
I'd give her mine, but mine's like everywhere.
Should it see? No. Oh, okay, it's all good. We just need.
Judge, I've
Go ahead.
got, I've got some stuff that needed to be taken out. I think Matt actually had stuff, but they just took this folder out.
starting off, and I know this, we can talk about the rest of it, whether we put it back or don't put it back.
Are we still are we still talking, or are we done with the elections talking?
I wanted to talk.
No, yeah, but are we gonna have a chance to
Yes.
talk after we talk?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
There's money in the county court at law of $46,000, and I know we can have the discussion of what we're gonna do with the court reporter, but there is $46,000 as an expense there that we could take out.
What page are you on?
I'm sorry. Look it up.
Talking on
County court at law, 80. That one's actually got all of it put in there. Let me see if I can find the one in the back that has,
What that's the salary.
yeah, though, if you look at page 127, there is a probation officer there that we can take out. I know we're gonna have the discussion in a minute about the court reporter, but I'm gonna go through a list of stuff that we've been talking about that can be taken out to help. That right there can be taken out, the 46,000, and then Matt had come up also, I think Matt Jude said, the accounting software conversion.
The county software, yeah, correct, that can come out on.
That we can come out also 50,000. Because
You're talking about under the regular, your accounting software.
It's under page that one's actually under page 92.
Well, this is anything related to that, servers, anything the county has set aside dedicated, for contingency.
Are you
Anything related to-
absolutely sure?
What he's gonna do is write that check out of this year's deal and set it in an account for next year, because we haven't used it.
I understand, but are you absolutely sure?
That one then.
You have to take all of that money out of it.
Yes.
Well, he's actually gonna write a check, it's down towards the bottom.
No, I understand, we're gonna pay this year's out of there.
No, we're gonna take that year because it's not been used, we're gonna take that 50,000 from this year, put it in
And go
an
ahead and
account so
pay
we
it.
can use it for next year.
Well, we hope we don't have to use it for next year, but yes.
Yes, which we haven't used it this year.
No, I understand that part. So you're just gonna leave it in the budget?
Leave it in the budget?
You have 50,000 for this year we didn't spend.
Correct.
In this next year's budget, you show another $50,000.
Correct, which is gonna be taken out because it's no longer gonna exist.
Okay, so if you need money, where are you gonna get it from?
We will take it from that account.
But if there's nothing in the
No,
account, how are you gonna take it?
the $50,000 that is in this year's account, he'll write a check and put it in his account, for his, he has an account that's audited.
I
So he'll
understand.
have that cash for next year. He'll have it for next
So
year.
you're gonna take general fund money
Correct,
and put it in your special auditor's fund,
which is general fund
which is general fund money,
also. Correct.
and then expend money out of that. If you need it.
If we need it, correct.
So then you have a budget for that fund.
A budget? No.
Well, if we're putting money in there and you have a potential expenditure, how are you gonna do it without a budget?
He will bring us back a budget.
If the time, the needs that we do run out of a server, we don't have any accounting software, yes, I could bring something to the court in an emergency contingency basis.
So it's not an anticipated cost?
Correct, it's not anticipated.
But we don't have the expenditure for next year, and we have the money to pay for it this year.
Do we have the money? I mean, we're scraping bottom right now. What's the difference in just letting it roll over, putting a $50,000 beginning cash balance, and then leaving it in the budget? What's the difference?
Technically, there wouldn't be any difference other than we would just remove it from this year's cash. In the end, on the consolidated financials, all those funds are consolidated anyway. It would just be taken out of this year's expense to try to lessen this year's expense.
I understand, but I already know we're cutting, we haven't froze the budget, and we're cutting very, very close to the end. Or at least the way I look at these numbers.
I agree. What we can do is, if we set it aside this year, and we don't want to put it in his account, then then all we're going to do is move the beginning cash balance, because there's that one, and then that one can be done like that, and then there's another one that I had on my list also.
I agree with the concept you're doing. What I have the issue with is this court not really having a lot of control over those funds?
He'd have to come back to spend it.
I understand, but I'm personally, and it has nothing to do with you, I'm personally more comfortable when it's in the general fund here, and if we decide we need to use it or don't use it, I understand we have some control over that fund, I get it, but I don't know that I'm 100% comfortable with this.
Okay, that's fine, but what we can at least do is take it out of next year's current expenses.
And start with a beginning cash balance.
But you still gotta have it in there for an expenditure.
Yeah. But
In the event you're going to spend it, and you do not have it in the budget for next year, and something comes up and you need to spend it, and it's not in your fund, and it's not in this budget, then we're either gonna have to come back and amend the budget, or we're gonna have to do something.
the only way to do it is start off with a beginning cash balance of the $50,000 at least, and leave the expenditure in there, is what he's getting at.
I'm trying
That way you still have the
I'm
expense.
trying to grasp what you're trying to do here by taking it and writing a check and putting it in your special
And I'm
fund.
trying to grasp why we're gonna account for something for an expense when we don't know it's an expense, we're trying to balance the budget for revenues equal
Well,
expenditures.
if you wanna take it
And
completely
then
out,
making-
that's fine.
Okay.
But what you're talking about doing is taking 50,000 out of this year's budget, putting it in your auditor special account over here, and letting it sit there,
Correct,
of which we do not have a budget for, the auditor special account.
correct.
And then in the event that we need it next year, we're gonna have $50,000 sitting over here that is not part of the budget, that's not part of anything.
It is part of the consolidated annual financial report.
I
Yes.
understand it is, but how do you expend funds of any amount or sort out of any budget without a budget? How are you going to expend the funds? You're anticipating just leave the money in there, and then if you need it, come back and create a budget and amend the existing budget?
Sure, we could do that, we could transfer back, we could hit contingency, we could reimburse contingency, we could use miscellaneous, we could use sundry, we could use many sorts of things by doing a transfer back. It was just to get the cash set aside. But the main thing is just reducing the expenses this year, because it's not going to be a current year expense.
I get that, and I appreciate that. I'm just trying to figure out. Okay. Go ahead.
I had the 46, I had the 50, Matt had come up with the 53,683. That money is the Hale. It's also on page 92. If we just take that out and set it in a new account, move it out of next year's budget, because that money is specific to that.
That was insurance money.
That was insurance money. Yes, sir.
Which is an insurance account.
Yes, sir.
And then the way it's structured in here is we're just taking it,
Like out of the general.
yeah, because there's no revenue to offset that
Yes.
53.
We've already received the revenue.
Yeah,
And that's-
but in this budget, there's no revenue to offset it, so we're just gonna, yeah.
Just clean it up.
Yep.
So it was the 46, 50, 53, and then the 28,000 on the building on the animal control that we just went over a little while ago. The other one that I'd looked at on the hot tax money, we actually had an expenditure of about $8,500 from previous years, but we did not have a revenue for it. So we either do the revenue, either start off with the $8,500 or because we can't have the $8,500 expenditure from previous years if we don't have the revenue. Does that make sense? Let me look for it. Maybe I'm not explaining myself correct. But under the expenditures, there was an expenditure for $8,500. That's it was on the last part of that.
No, I remember.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to have a revenue for it.
Yes.
Because we're moving money over. So we need to start with at least $8,500. We're gonna get an argument again. But we need to do something. If I have the expenditure and it's.
You gotta have the revenue.
Yes.
So it's hotel motel tax revenue.
You're spending fund balance though, so you don't necessarily have to have a revenue to spend.
I know, but it makes my budget look worse than what it is by $8,500, because I have no revenue in order to spend it, but I know that the revenue is there. So when you do the numbers that I just, the other deal is secretary. We were giving our secretary more money, and I think they said they would do their own paperwork.
And I agree, I'm just not 100% sure I'm comfortable with that. Are you sure that y'all can get the reports and handle it?
Jerry? Jerry?
Are you 100% sure that y'all can handle through your office all the reporting and everything else?
I've already delegated it to the three guys and myself, and yes, we can.
Okay.
With the list of stuff that we just went over, we're about $180 some odd thousand worth of savings. The other things, that I'd like for the court to consider, some of the stuff that we took out that I thought might need to be added back. The historical, I don't know, I think we give them they use up all the money, which was $150 difference. And then we had the museum, which they use all of the money, which is $3,250. And then the food bank, that contract is actually for $18,000, so we'd have to put $900 back in that one. The sheriff, we already talked about. And I had a concern on the insurance on page 101 that we dropped. Where our insurance is, I mean, we went up 100,000, but then we actually dropped 100,000 in the line. Is just because it was figured better, or how did that work out? It just is what it is. The numbers, I mean, but you had a concern that we need to do a better job making sure that those numbers were correct. You feel comfortable that these numbers are correct, even though they're $100,000 less? Correct.
And your airline, you went down on that from 42 to 39.9?
Correct. We actually got a bill. No, but the bills that we got were less.
With my understanding, it went up this year.
It went up $1,500, but it's still with the bills that we were receiving, it was still a little bit less than what we had anticipated. Even with the $1,500 that it was going up.
The $50,000 for the grant administrator, what does that pay for? I'm assuming that's money that we paid to Carl?
That was to his wife. Remember, we set up a deal with
We set up for her to be, but it wasn't $50,000.
No, it was set up because that was also, we were paying that company a percentage on different, if we needed to pay them a percentage on different jobs.
I understand, as a grant administrator, and they handle a grant, they get paid for that, but that comes out of the grant.
No, that comes out of the grant, but the $50,000 was set up in order to help us run some of these other grants also that weren't through.
And we're gonna continue to have those, or most of those grants gone?
No, we still have our grants.
The one that was taken out was the 75.
Excuse me, the Madison Group also sent me a invoice, they're claiming us $1,000 on that Madison Group.
We need to change that then.
Did you get that, Matt?
Got it.
The court, what we've done, is, I was going over the numbers, I mean, the salaries, between the salaries, the 5% cut, well, between the salaries, 5% cut, and the rate increase is like $1,355,000. I mean, we are really, really close with taking out the numbers if the court decides to do that. We're really close to balancing.
Are you including the increase in taxes?
I was including the increase in tax. What I did is, I took the $2,072 million times the 3.9, and then went back to a 93% collection rate, at least for the first year. And we're collecting $751,589 is what we collect off the increase in taxes. The other thing, Commissioner Nelson, and you and Matt had both brought this up, the funding on the Frontera Road, I think when we talked, I was more in line to try to pay for it. But I think you and Matt had both brought up that maybe set that tax note money, that 606 or something, leave it in the interest and sinking to be able to, if we needed to go up for a loan, to borrow money, that would help make the payment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that needs to be considered too. And I just look back there. You have also one of the things that we're going to have to consider on here, I look back there and just saw it, the district attorney allocation.
the minimum that I come up with, we have $400,000 in here. The minimum that I come up with, depending on which plan the court begins to pick, is about $417,407. Not the $400,000 that's in the budget. The plan that he had actually, with it increasing his numbers, it goes to 424, 552, 86. So the court's gonna have to make a decision on that. I mean, you know, the minimum with the plan that I put together would be $417,407. So I think at least we need to add that into this and then get everything in a new set of numbers.
But I'm assuming he's still coming under our budget.
If he's coming to our budget, then he would not be on page 92.
No,
So that's a conversation that we need to have on how we want to treat him in this coming year.
Yeah, because it's gonna affect this whole structure. Because you're gonna have to show some kind of, if he comes under our budget with the structure that we talked about the other day on salaries and all that, there's still a shortfall in salaries.
Correct.
And you gotta show some way of getting that additional funding into our budget to offset those pieces.
One of the things that we had talked about also, there's other individuals within the county that get supplements, that are by the state or whatever. We set their salaries, and the supplements, they are what they are. So I mean, I think that's, to me, it would be the cleanest way to do it with them. We set his salary, and then whatever supplement it is, he has to put it in.
No, I agree. It's gonna change how we do this. And it has an effect on the overall budget. And he's here, so I guess you can ask.
Set the salary, and then the supplement, you add that to the salary, or
No.
you give credit for the salary?
We wouldn't give credit to anything. We'd set the salary. I mean, and this, just my opinion is, I mean, you set the salary, depending on what salary the court wants to set.
And are we talking about employees, county employees?
They
would become county employees.
Okay.
Once he comes under here, they become county employees.
I didn't bring enough copies this time. You want to put it up?
You hand it to Matt. Matt can do it. Matt can do it.
Right now. Glad I didn't call somebody names.
Just use initials if they want to.
There we go. The salaries, I mean, this one's a little bit better than what I had done because my wife did this one. Salaries as paid today, that's what they're getting paid. The salaries, where it says county salaries with raises, Matt had put together a spreadsheet. If they'd have stayed with us since 2012, that's what they would be getting paid today. County proposed salaries, what I did is I took the lower of the two, what they were getting paid under the DA right now, or what they would be getting paid. And then he had asked the DA county contribution. What he asked was that the 81,627 get bumped to 85, that's what we would allow, and then the 69,928 to 72, the 45 to 46. Leave the 49 alone, and I don't know, there's 6,000 and change the difference between the county proposed salaries and the DA's. And then everything else, those two other line items, they change a little bit, health and, not health and dental, but when it comes to retirement and FICA, that sort of changes a little bit because the difference between the 305 and the 312. That's like I'm saying, when you get down to the bottom, 474, 326, or 482, 446, 88% of those, that would be our contribution. He would have to still make up the difference. I think it was $81,000. I didn't put that on there. I'm sorry. I think it was like $81,000 minus the $7,000 that he was talking about. He has $22,500 more or less from the state. So his deal would be somewhere still around that $50,000 mark.
Okay.
What he would have to come up with.
So get back to the supplements, what were you saying about the supplements?
Well, if we were to go in and put in our budget the salaries, whether it's the county salaries or the DA, whichever one the court wants to do, put that within within our budget and say that's what we're gonna pay, then any supplement, he would have to make it up, if there's going to be supplements.
If they're a county employee, regardless of the source of the funds, the salary that the court sets is all they can get paid.
Okay. Even, there's a couple of employees within the county that we set their salary, but they get paid a supplement from the state. How does that
Employees or
work?
elected officials?
Elected officials.
Okay,
That's
that's
different.
different. And it's different because you publish that. You say, this is the elected official's salary, this is the supplement, and that's all part of the same thing. So you guys are approving that salary with the supplement.
Okay, so how do we get past this? What would you recommend then?
So what you have to do is we have to set the salary at what he's saying, then we have to show a revenue to offset it coming into the budget from a different source, right?
And if he runs out of money, then the county pays the difference.
We're obligated.
Well, they can't do that.
What happens the following year? Are you able to reduce?
Yeah, but that's not fair to the employee. I mean, yeah, you are. The answer, the legal answer.
So
is
if they don't become part of the county, if they're not under the county, can we still set the salary? Either one, either the county proposed or the DA, can we still set that salary and say this is what our contribution is going to be?
You can say this is what our contribution is going to be, but Mr. Bagley's the one that sets the salaries.
Okay.
So
that would work?
That was the big fallout with
Okay.
Fred.
So if we say this is what our contribution is going to be based on these salaries and these dollar amounts, we do that. My next question is that can they still be part of our retirement and FICA like the probation people are?
I would think, but I'm not absolutely sure.
And the reason is because that's one, I mean, that's one of my concerns is.
You're doing well.
Okay, because one of my concerns is that, the retirement, they have a better retirement and they would have a better dental plan, and we save about $30,000 letting them come in with us just on the insurance that we wouldn't have to pay up front.
I would hesitate to say 100% that they can, but it's likely.
Okay.
And it's always a matter of checking with the retirement and making sure that this pool of employees qualifies.
And they used to be part of this, and I think we checked, and they can. They can. I think we checked with them, and they can be part of this.
Okay.
Okay? So that would solve our problem, is just, bottom line is, the court needs to pick which column we're gonna do, either the DA's proposed the way he set his salaries, or the county proposed salaries.
No, what we have to pick is how much money we're gonna give him.
Well,
What he
but it
does
needs to
with
be
it is his
based on
business.
something.
Well, okay, are you talking about if you let them into the retirement system
Yes.
and the health system? Then in terms of the budget, that's what you have to pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Just
that's not
because-
in terms of the budget. Because we're gonna give him a check. He's gonna set his own salaries. And then he's gonna come back to us and say, this is the part that you're gonna pay insurance on. And it's gonna have an effect. It's not gonna be no $36,000 and all that, because it's gonna be based off of that $372,000.
And that's what-
It will be, because you have to pay retirement and insurance based, I mean, not insurance is what it is, but the retirement is based off of their salary that he's paying them, not the salary we agreed to pay.
Well, the thing is, though, that if it was me, that's how come the salaries up on top are important, because we're basing it off this salary. Any difference between the 305 and the 305,809 and the 372, he's gonna have to make up the difference.
No, I understand, he's gonna have to make it up, but it's gonna affect those numbers.
It is, but he's going to have to make up those
The
numbers.
thing, there's one more thing, is that Mr. Bagley will present a budget, and that's the budget he lives off of. And he does that in order for you to commit to a contribution. So you're going to know what the numbers are.
Which I've already submitted.
And I didn't bring it, but it's, the whole deal is like $500 and some odd thousand. I mean, we have to have something, I would think that as a court, we have to have something to base what we're willing to give on. You have to have something based on this is what we're willing to give.
You have Mr. Bagley's budget, so based on that budget, you'll have to decide how much you're going to contribute, but that's his budget. Or you bring him into the county system, and then the employees become a whole different issue.
Yeah, but if we do that, then we
Yeah,
open
it
up a
becomes a whole
giant can of
different
worms.
issue.
So to me, it would be better if we came up with a contribution that we're going to give him, but yet he can still have the retirement and the medical and everything through the
But
county.
you're gonna be responsible then for taking care of all your employee, taxes, your FICA, your everything. You're gonna do it all.
Now we'll continue
No, no, I
to do it just in
understand.
case.
But that's not
And
the
that-
contract we have with
No.
probation.
Right.
Matt, isn't there an issue about if you're paying, if the county is doing the retirement, about the payroll flowing through you versus not flowing through you?
Correct, we would like to keep control of all that because we are making those remittance. So, we'll discuss that issue with with Mr. Bagley.
So the county would continue to do payroll, or not would continue, would do payroll and handle retirement and insurance, and that's what we do for both
No, we
probation.
do it all, and we handle it, but we charge them a fee for it.
Yes, we enter into a contract.
And we talked about that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we
Whatever
charge a
we were
fee to
charging
handle
for-
all that cost.
And
I don't remember what it is, but,
I don't remember what it was, and it was based on per employee fee.
Exactly.
and we had done some research, and this is where we figured it cost us per employee to do
Yeah,
it.
and,
You remember, Juanita?
No, she's talking.
sorry.
When we did the deal with probation, and then we charged them a fee to handle all of their payroll stuff. Do you remember how we got to that number, or what we did?
We actually, we based it on the amount of employees we did and then the departments.
But what was the fee, the
It was
number?
$1.
The number?
I can go get it.
I
It was
may
roughly
have it,
4,000
so
for
let
one
me,
and 2,000 for
We're
the other.
getting, yeah, we're getting
So-
4,000.
So then the question is, are you willing to pay the county to handle all of your stuff?
When we're gonna end up paying, I mean, he's in the charges. We're gonna pay 88% of it, and he's gonna go get the other 2 counties to pay the other 12%. It is what it is.
Whatever is easiest for the county commissioners.
Well, the easiest thing is that we handle the payroll, that way everything's right, and the retirement's right, and everything is done the way it's supposed to be. That's the easiest way to do it. But then you have to submit us a budget that we have to adopt, so that you can't come back halfway through the year and change salaries.
Right. And if the court recalls, I actually submitted 2 different
You did,
budgets earlier this year.
No, I understand. I mean, we need to pick one and adopt what that structure's gonna be.
Mr. Bagley, are you still asking for the county to, take in your employees as county employees, or do you prefer the plan that Commissioner Owens just articulated? Or does it make any difference?
I prefer the plan that Commissioner Owens is proposing right now, but I would like to put it with my employees as well. I want to give them some voice in the matter as well.
And it really allows you best of both worlds.
Yes, sir. And if I may, can I bring up one other topic that we're on this matter as well? On the, if I may, go with that. Sure. On the expenditure budget, one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention was that that's probably going to have to be amended as well. Now, if I need to, I'll bring that back to the court, because we did get that additional grant, and we need to put that in, that other position in there as well, to allow for that as well. We are currently working on a job description. We should be finished with that shortly, so we can start advertising for that other position as well.
That grant was through the county, so it'll be set up just like our others.
Yes, sir. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because that's going to increase the expenditure budget. Am I correct? No, I'm talking about the grant that was included in...
Yeah, it'll increase in expenditures, we're gonna get the revenue increase,
Right.
so net it's a zero effect.
Right. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And we are going to be trying to advertise that shortly, so we can try to fill that position, hopefully before the start of our next fiscal year with the grant. So,
You get us another budget?
sir,
Can you get us another budget, copy of another budget? Your
it's going to be
budget?
the same budget you have right now.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need it. I mean,
Was
you get- you get us
it
a
based off of these salaries, or what?
His salary
It
is,
is based off the ones on the left side.
Yes.
And
But I'll be glad to print it again and give it to you.
And
I don't have a
then,
problem with that.
but those, the retirements and all that, those numbers will change.
they'll change because the difference between the 372 and 305, the only thing I did with what I believe we should have to pay was based off of the 305.
Yeah, but I mean, within that number is, like you say, we're still gonna get stuck with the bills, so.
Well, we're gonna get, I think out of that 417, my opinion is, out of that 417, we're gonna get stuck with a bill that, is very, very little higher because of what we're fixing to charge him to run his office. I personally don't think we should get stuck with the bill between the 372 and 305, whatever that is, that 60-some-odd $1,000. If you look where it says retirement, that's the difference, and the FICA is the difference between the $2 amounts.
But we're only gonna fund the 417. That's it.
My opinion would be the 417 plus whatever, 88% of whatever it costs him.
I think the way it was done in the past, and I guess you could still say currently, is that it was an in-kind contribution, but unfortunately, the monies that were sent over were never used appropriately, and they were never set aside for retirement benefits, which, again, should have been done. And it was done to
I
the
think we're gonna
expense
do
of my
somewhere like
employees.
420.
So,
And if we do that, they're still working on an audit, so we should get some money back.
that's correct, and we just got in touch with, or I should say, she just got in touch with us last week, Ms. Shooter, and she's requesting certain documents. We are in the process of putting all that together. I actually had an employee come in on the weekend to get all that ready for her, because we want to give it to her all together. We don't want to do it in a piecemeal fashion.
Where is that contribution in our budget?
The contributions on page 90.
92.
True, I didn't have my glasses, I'm sorry. It would be one of the ones that's in yellow. We had 410 last fiscal year, we got 400 this year, and I would imagine with that other little cost, it'd go to probably around 420.
Now, if this trend continues and the sellers are set by Mr. Bagley as replacements are taken in, this situation will never resolve itself. This will be the treatment of the
No, I agree with you.
which is unusual in nature for a
I've got all kinds of issues with this, but, you know, and it's nothing personal, Mr. Bagley, but I have issues when certain elected officials can pick and choose what salaries they want to allocate to employees while everybody else has to fall within whatever it is that we're doing. It just doesn't seem like that's the way it needs to be. And I understand this is created way before you got here, and we're all trying to get it fixed. Which goes back to the conversation we've had for the last 3 years of trying to fix salaries completely. You know, and probably a first assistant at 100,000 is probably what it takes to get the guy that can do the job.
Yes, sir.
And I think the county attorney can make the same argument. And she's fixing to make the same argument here in a few minutes, and, you know, but I think you have to fix the salary problem as a whole, and I think what we're doing is setting ourselves up for this will be the new salaries for all attorneys.
Mhm. Forever, never, never.
Well, and that's,
No, I mean, I understand we're stuck in a very, it just appears to me that there's gotta be a way that you can come into the county. We can set the salaries based off of what we would have had them at and figure out a structure of how that works with the additional income coming in to offset, just like we would allow, just like other elected officials with funds have the ability to offset those salaries. There has to be a mechanism to accomplish that.
And if there is, I'm more than willing to comply with it.
You know, I just can't believe there's not a way to make that happen.
If there's a way that we can do it, where we can do that, and I can supplement for whatever years I can, and we are right now very much looking into other avenues to bring in additional revenue for our office, that's great.
and you just
but-
made the comment, if I can supplement for whatever years I can.
Right.
And when you can't, now whoever's sitting
Then we're
in
gonna
this
run
chair
into that
back then,
question.
we're fixing to run.
And if we can do something, and if there is a legal maneuver available, that we can turn around and say, if there's no funds available supplemental, and then is the county only liable for the portion that they're presenting?
I've learned in government, if there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
We did, and it's been several years ago, we funded a position that you offset some of the costs to do some records, man, I don't remember what it was, and it's been some time ago. Yes, and we hired a position, we set a salary, and then we had funded part, and then you funded part, I think, or something like that. I don't remember how we did it, but I remember we did it once, and you utilized some of those records management funds to pay the cost of that employee or something, and it's been several years ago, so. I'm more comfortable with you coming under the county, we controlling it the way it should be, set up the way it should be, come up with a salary structure that works in compliance with everybody else, and then figure out, and Counselor, there is under your, one of those funds, hot check funds or something, you have the ability to offset salaries. You can offset additional salaries if you choose to. So we would set a salary, let's say we're gonna pay your employee $20,000. You can say, I'm gonna take hot check funds and I'm gonna pay that employee $25,000. How does that work if we set the salary at 20 and you offset it? Would this not be the same mechanism? Then how do we do that to make that work? Because then when your 5,000 runs out, which it will, then that employee was still at $20,000.
That employee will still get the same salary, and then the county covers the difference.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If we set the salary at 20,000 and you make the decision to take 5,000 out of your special funds to offset it, you have that ability to do that.
Okay, but are you saying the employee makes 20 or the employee makes 25?
The employee under our budget makes $20,000.
Okay.
And you come in and say, I'm gonna take 5,000 of my hot check fund to offset and pay him $25,000.
When your money runs out.
That's, when your money runs out, it goes the way it is, what it is.
You set the salary at 25,
Yes.
Otherwise I can't pay them additional money. I
That's the
can't pay
problem we're
my
having.
employees any more money than what
They
the
run
court
out of
says.
money.
The best way at this point to do it is to just give them a supplement based on a salary and their time.
Seems like we've done this before with
We
somebody.
did it wrong.
Well, then maybe we did and maybe we didn't, but,
But the general rule is real simple. The counties, the commissioner's court set the salary regardless of the source of the funds. That's it. If I had $1 million and wanted to supplement everybody's salaries, I'd have to come here and ask you to do it. And if you said no, it's no.
no, I understand that, but there still has to be a mechanism where when your money runs out, we don't become obligated to it.
The mechanism is to amend the budget and reduce that employee's salary.
Once the funds run out.
Which I think is not a very nice thing to do to the employee, but that's my public opinion.
That would happen eventually though anyway, wouldn't it? If they ran out of funds to supplement where they're in.
Yeah, but at least it wouldn't be the county saying,
Right.
can't pay no more, it'd be him.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that when you have employees like this, and I do, and if I'm going to continue to do this, I want to make sure that they know, and I know this theory is just as well done, that they're assuming the risk that once these funds run out, guess what? You're going to be paying less. So if you're willing to take the job under those conditions, so be it.
It's never that simple.
It just wouldn't, well, and it wouldn't be us making that decision, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't want to have to cut somebody's salary because I set their salary at 100, and all we're putting in the kitty is $81,600.
But we'd also like to consider, hopefully, in the years to come, that these salaries that you're going to agree to set, whether it be 81 or 85, in the years to come, they are going to increase somewhat.
They would increase.
Hopefully.
They would increase because we've given raises to other
Yes, sir.
county employees.
Exactly.
Except
And
this
they
year
would
they're not
increase.
increasing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This year they're not increasing.
Can you reach out to other counties that have this situation and see how they handle it?
I think Matt did.
He did, go ahead. I'm sorry. Do it.
Okay. No, I just reached out to a few other counties, DA specific, nothing county-wise, just DA specific. However, they were county employees, and I just asked what happens when forfeiture runs out, and they just said that they only fund the general fund liabilities.
That's what I'm saying, they only fund the general fund liabilities.
Correct. Which is right here on your general fund. My hand model days are over. Okay, correct, the forfeiture fund and your other funds.
So then why can't we set up in his budget a general fund liability and a special fund liability? And so the general fund liability of that salary is 88,000 or whatever the number is. The special fund liability is the difference. The total amount set by the court is this. When this portion runs out, the general fund is only obligated to this.
We can.
Okay.
We can. It's just that we're going to be the ones telling their employees that they're not going to make that money.
Okay, but We set a budget every single year. We're gonna know if the revenue is available for that year or not, I'm assuming. Right, Mr. Bagley?
He would have.
You'll know if you're gonna make the revenue the following year.
Yes.
And in all
Except for stuff
reality,
like forfeitures, because you never know.
and in all reality,
But you're
though,
paying these at a forfeiture, or you don't?
I'm anticipating that we're gonna use some of our forfeiture account, and I'm hoping that, as we've discussed before, that some
he
of these
should,
other monies are gonna.
he should have enough money to fund the difference, at least for the next 4 years after we get our money back.
And I would imagine you would only do that on your beginning balance. You wouldn't anticipate revenues to anticipate salaries.
But the additional, and this is another question. So the general fund budget is this. The special fund budget is this. So you're gonna write a check out of the special fund for this additional salary.
Correct.
So what we're actually paying out of the general fund is the salary for the 86 plus whatever those benefits. Out of this other fund, you're gonna write a separate check. He's not gonna give us the money, and then we're gonna turn around and write it back to them.
And he's actually said
So
that
when
he,
his money goes away, that other check disappears, this check continues.
You're gonna want two checks?
Yes, two checks.
No, then you can't do that at all.
Why can't you?
Not two checks. He would just simply just write a check to reimburse Valverde
Why can't
the
you?
difference.
For reimbursement purposes?
Mhm.
Okay, for reimbursement purposes or to the employee?
To the employee?
No.
Why?
Ask Matt, would you be
Why?
wanting to cut two checks?
No, I understand it's difficult. I'm not asking if it's cumbersome. I'm asking if it
Okay,
can be done.
Yeah, I don't understand the,
It just doesn't make sense.
I don't understand why that would be done. It can be done.
Because then it obligates the county to the general fund check, and we continue to write it. And when he can no longer write the other check, that's between him and his employees.
Typically, I would imagine that how it would be set up is he would just use beginning balance at the beginning of the year to figure out what he's going to pay in addition to what Valverde County is going to pay. Now, he would not use anticipated revenues to make these, so he could write that check at the beginning of the year to Valverde County, and then we would just write the full amount. That's what I anticipate would happen.
And we can do it that way, and here in about 15 minutes, we're fixing to get another argument, but let's proceed down that road.
One other thing, if I may, I wanted to bring y'all's attention. I know this is from certainly a different county, because I see the number of employees here. Bear County or what?
County.
Okay. What you'll see on the right side too is you'll see the general fund, the court fund, and other, and then you have pretrial diversion. I will tell you that we are starting our pretrial diversion program, and we are going to start charging a fee for that as soon as possible. So that's going to generate some more revenue for us as well. We haven't in the past, and it wasn't done in the past hardly at all, but we are going to start doing that soon.
But pretrial diversion money can only be used for running the pretrial diversion program.
Right.
And then you'll have a
but
budget for all
again,
that.
it just, I mean, there's two ways to do it. You bring them back in, you set their salary is whatever we're gonna set it, the supplement is X. But at the end of the day, their whole salary is the 100,000 versus the 81,000, right?
I don't know what you're saying.
On the previous.
Let me say something here. I mean, I've been listening to y'all for, what, 30, 45 minutes?
At least.
And y'all are confusing me to a certain point. Are we basing what y'all are talking about on that chart that was there before this one?
Mhm.
So what do we go with bump up to 100,000 when we got 80-something thousand there for first assistant? And then so much for the second assistant? What are we throwing other numbers out? If we're basing the budget on this, if we were to take them in as our county employees.
Because he's already set the salaries.
Well, he has, I mean, fine, but we're gonna set ours what we can afford or what we think is right and go with that.
Right, and that's why, Commissioner, I came back, I guess it was last time, and I was arguing for an increase from the 81 to the 85. And I understand, I can see the writing on the wall, I know what I'm gonna have to do to maintain my employees. I'm just trying to narrow the gap, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm working with you guys as much as possible. I'm willing to help my employees, and I intend to do so. But eventually, the funds are gonna run out, and my employees understand that. Believe me, my employees know what's going on.
I mean, I understand, the thing is that there's a process. I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, but this one here, it's across the board.
Yes, sir.
We gotta
Matt,
follow
when we
those
set
rules.
this, are we telling the other counties what they're gonna participate, at what level?
No.
That's set by population. That's what we can,
The way-
88%.
We already got that.
88%
We have been getting it collected, right? I know that for a while it hadn't been, so.
You're talking about fees that are coming in, or the in-kind contribution from the other counties?
Correct.
Yeah, well, those are already set, and I believe that they've already, I don't think they've approved their budgets, but I understand it's on the way for being approved. I don't think we're gonna have a problem with Darrell or with Kenny.
And I think you'd said the last meeting we had that you'd actually talked to them.
Yes, sir.
And to make up the difference between the 417 and the other one, they're 28,000 or whatever,
Right.
they'd already committed to it.
They have.
So that 417 was a good number.
So there's no big change in their budget then? I just think this is, just making it, y'all are making it too complicated to a certain point.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, we all need a break. Why don't we take a 10-minute break?
Stick to that.
Okay.
We'll come back.
With that.
The other counties, they get 6%. 6%. Based on population.
Thank you.
It's on. Ms. Smith, you wanted to make some comments on the,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay. First of all, this is not the comment. In the contract between the county and the probation department, they pay us $226.36 per employee to process payroll. Okay?
Okay.
Do you want me to stand up? or what?
Yeah.
You want me to stand up? Okay. All right.
Are you finished with yours?
I was done with mine an hour ago. I can't believe Gus started getting mad. What the hell? Where'd that come from?
He won't get you wanted to break.
He's out there in the hall. I want to address two issues. The first one is, y'all made a reduction of 5% across the board for the expenditure budgets of each department. Is that correct? It would, I think it would be a better method for y'all to tell us, reduce your budget by 5%, and then we can make the adjustments, because in my case, we hardly make it with the money that we have for office supplies, and we would be able to move our civil litigation money in there and still end up at the same bottom line. So, is there any way we could do that, have a choice and say,
What do you mean civil litigation?
I have a line item, civil litigation.
So
That's
you want to move it where?
to office supplies,
What page you on?
81.
How much money you have in there? Can we just take all of office supply out?
Just remember, you
I'm just playing,
you reduce my stuff, I do less work. That's it.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not getting in an argument.
Well, you keep poking the bear.
You wanted to do what now?
Okay, I have civil litigation,
Uh-huh.
and that went from $5,000 to $4,750.
Mm-hmm.
So office supplies went from $21,000 to $19,950.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to move civil litigation money to bring it back to $21,000 for supplies.
Whatever that difference is, but you still be within the 5%.
Do we need travel training too? And also to travel and training. So I think it's gonna be $1,425. $1,050 for the office supplies and $375 for the travel and training.
And reduce civil litigation.
Yes.
Why are we
$1,425.
reducing civil litigation?
Because historically, we don't spend it all.
How much do we spend?
This year, I don't know, because I told Matt he could use my money. I spent it all this year, but only because I gave it away.
Okay, but how much do we normally spend?
About 2,000.
About 2,000.
So we spend about $2,000 a month. So if we just change that number to 2,500,
Well, the thing is that civil litigation, it's gonna come out of another line item, like when you pay the attorneys and stuff, or it's gonna come out of my budget, so if you want to reduce it to 2,500, doesn't bother me. Just that I'm being treated differently, but that's okay, I'm used to that.
His $1,425 is what you lost in the top two items.
Right.
So, okay. So if you lowered the other one,
By the difference and moved them back
Yeah.
up, it comes out the same.
they're $3,325.
Just the same thing.
I'm gonna believe you.
Bottom line is, the top one stay at 21, or office 21, travel and training 75, and the other one, if you took the difference, it could go to $3,325.
And you're subtracting from the,
From the 5,000.
From the 4,750.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not the five, I'm not giving you the full credit of the 5,000.
no, but you could, it'd be nice.
I could, but we're not. I'm sorry.
And issue number 2, the salaries, my salary budget is actually going down, and that's because I had an attorney, an experienced
121.
attorney. But I'd like to raise my base salary, which doesn't take anything away from my budget as it is, because like everybody says, it's really hard to hire, especially an experienced one in the position. The first assistant is the attorney that works for the court. You have to quit laughing, Commissioner. You're hurting my feelings.
I'm sorry, I'll quit, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my paperwork, because I figure out where you're going. No, I had paperwork just on her.
And what do you want to do?
I'd like to raise, I have the request in, on my budget request, to raise the base salaries, so I could hire somebody that you guys would get along with.
Raise it to what? Well, I get along with the one you have, but, raise it to what?
Her request, the first go around was to 90,000.
You get along with the one I have?
No, I said I got along with the one you have.
I do, but you were on here.
Go ahead.
So you want to go to 90,000 on base salary, which is above what his pay was when he left.
No,
Yes?
That's the letter we got.
Yeah, when he left, it was either 81 or
Okay, then
85,
that's what I wanted, 90,000.
which would even be more money than what, I'm not saying that.
What are we paying the DA's first assistant?
81,000.
I will make a motion to move it to $81,627.07.
Okay.
And that is pretty much,
And this is what you're giving, Mr.
We
Bagley?
hadn't even had that conversation. We're fixing to get to that conversation.
Exactly, so if you get into that conversation and that salary's not that, then I'll be back up. You know, you guys are playing with me. You really are.
How am I playing with?
Because you just said something that's not true, it hasn't happened. And the issue this year is that the employees are not getting a raise, and the elected officials are not being treated the same in terms of base salaries and who gets raises and who gets increases or whatever. It's not, and it happens, I would say it happens, every 3 years, that they take advantage of the employees and do something different. We had a system, everybody was treated the same. You weren't allowed to give raises in the middle of the fiscal year. You weren't allowed to have positions. Everybody came up and made their pitch. You guys are doing this, like, we can't even have a copy of the budget you're working off of because nobody knows where the copy is. Nobody knew that this one existed. So we don't know what the big number is, and how can you come up here and ask for things when you don't know what's going on with everything else?
Ms. Smith, did you get a copy of your budget?
I
You just didn't
did.
get a copy of the whole budget, is what you're saying?
Exactly,
Okay.
because how am I going to find out that you're reducing me by 5%, and maybe you're not reducing another department by 5%? Or that somebody has been given a raise, and it's showing up as this year's budget when it's next year's budget with a raise? It just really, it's always, and you know it does frustrate me the way this county deals with salaries. You have never given merit raises. They've always been based on experience, on time with the county, and then all of a sudden you come in here and you're giving raises left and right, and big fat raises, not even little ones. And the rest of the employees get nothing. And then, Commissioner Nettleton, you don't even know you're going to give Mr. Bagley that number, and you're telling me I'm going to give you that number?
I have no intention of giving him any more than what's on that sheet.
Wait until that happens, because Mr. Bagley may have something else to say about that.
Mrs. Smith, and we've had this conversation. You know, been here 7 years.
I've been 25.
No, I understand. And you look younger than I do. I'll just say
I do.
Get back to
I
you.
don't argue with you about that.
But this court, in the last 7 years, when we started, our payroll budget was $6.5 million. We've given $429,429 worth of raises in 7 years. So that's 29% of the budget when we started 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've done this court, previous court with the other judge.
And then you lost your way.
No.
You did. You lost your way. This year
Last
is a
year,
very, very bad year.
It is, but I'm sitting on this side of the chair, and again, we've had this conversation, this side of the desk. How do I go out and raise taxes 3.9 cents without trying to cut something first? Since I've been here, the previous court has gone from 16,000 base pay to 21,400 and change base pay. We've had a sheriff's department that's gone from 24,000 patrol to 34,000. I mean, you know.
And what's happened this year? What are the changes?
We can't afford it.
What are the changes in salaries this year?
We're not going to give any raises.
What are the changes in salaries?
Be specific, like what?
Okay, is your secretary going to get a 10,000 increase? Is Mr. Gotcha going to get a $6,000 increase?
Yes.
Is Commissioner Wardlaw's foreman going to get a $7,000 increase?
Yes.
That's what's not fair. That's not fair at all.
And
because that's right there, that's 13 employees that could have got a raise. And see, that's the thing, that every year, if you're sitting here, you can get up and say, I have a great employee. Yeah, he is. He's a great employee. I know him well. He works with me. He does PR for me, blah, blah, blah. But you don't know anything about Janie's employees. You don't know anything about mine. You don't know anything about Juanita or anybody else. So there's nobody to advocate for them. But if you come in and you tell us, this is the formula. This is what you can expect. If your employee does a good job, you can expect X. You know, you're not going to get an employee in the middle of the year because that's not the way the budget works. They're not going to get a raise in the middle of the year because that's not the way the budget works. This year is not like that. And I commend you. No, I commend you for everything that you've done in the past and how the employees have been treated. But little by little, that process is deteriorating. And we're going to get back to the old days, which was exactly that. You never knew who was going to get a raise until the last minute when everybody sits there. And so I can tell you, we would wait until the very last minute to see who was going to get raises because the court would change their mind and it was all willy-nilly. There was no rhyme or reason. And I can't believe that we're going back there again.
We're not.
Yes, you are.
Mrs. Smith, we added one position that, and maybe I'm forgetting, we added one position in the middle of this year for safety reasons, which was for the sheriff's office, so they could put somebody on the second floor. That's the position that we added.
Yes.
Where did the raises, the $6,000, $7,000 raise? That's for the next fiscal year. That's not for this.
And how many people are getting raises?
No, I understand. You're not going to get an argument from me.
Well,
I'm just saying though that when you say a position, we had one position for safety reasons, and I thought it was long overdue. The other two raises, it was voted on by the court. It was a majority rule, and I mean, we go on.
But the issue that I have and what sets me off is that when I'm asking for something, the response I get is very flippant. It's like, there.
Well, the thing is,
be satisfied. If it were reversed, that y'all had given Mr. Bagley $100,000, I seriously doubt that you'd be saying your first assistant is going to get $100,000 without me even asking. If I had asked for 90, you would have said, "Oh no, you get your 90. Not, I'm going to give you 100,000."
But you asked for 90, which is more than the individual what that position was making when it was vacated. I, as a member of one of 5 up here, I can't do that. I mean, and the base pay for that individual is, I think, it's 74, if I'm not mistaken, for the first assistant. So, I mean, we're raising it to 81, and we're still in trouble.
Yeah, and in 2 departments, you've given them more money than what they have for 2 employees. I'm saying I have that money. And the thing
I
is,
understand your argument. I understand
Mr.
your
Owens,
argument.
you don't have to tell me you're going to vote for or against it, because it doesn't matter at this point. The only thing I want to make clear is that you guys are not treating us fairly. And that's the truth. If you're up there, you have a voice. If we're out here, we don't. So, anyway, do what you want. And do what you want to, Mr. Bagley, to... I'm not there.
I can advocate for myself, but thank you.
All right, anybody else want to speak?
You know, Judge, I think I've been pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I stand by what I've done, and I think
Mr.
I'm
Owens,
pretty
I'm not
consistent.
saying anything about the past. I'm talking about this fiscal year.
And I think I've been pretty consistent.
Okay. All right,
Judge, I'd like to say something, concerning, making a motion or, you know, going with a dollar amount concerning honest employees or Mr. Bagley. I think we need to make sure we're gonna be fair across the board with them. I believe in being fair with all employees, and when we give raises, we give them across the board. And I was totally against some people getting a raise a couple weeks ago, because to me, that seems like we're picking and choosing who we're gonna give raises to. And that ain't right. That ain't right, not when we have a critical budget, not when we don't have the money there.
You know, Judge, one more time. I mean, we did what we did. I mean, it just, you know, if somebody, you know, it just, I think we need to get past it and keep going. Try to be more consistent, but I mean, what happened, happened. Let's just, I mean, we're just beating a dead horse.
Don't you have a
And that's why I said, it doesn't make any difference
I
what
know.
you say.
We already died.
the motion died because there was not a second. All right? Nobody else? Go ahead. Judge.
I have some questions. As far as the 5% cut, that doesn't bother me at all. I do have some questions about, for instance, computer maintenance.
Judge, I'm sorry. Can you give us the page that you're on?
I'm
If you don't
sorry,
mind.
78.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, for computer maintenance, can someone define for me exactly what that is to be used for?
Matt? Can you help
No,
Matt?
actually, it's a question of my mind as well.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't mean to jump on that.
The county put approximately $4,100 aside for their computer, correct?
Well, it's for computer maintenance, and we do pay EDOC out of there, which I would really think that's software maintenance. But they, in the past, have only charged us $2,500, and the other part that was there, we used for like replacing batteries and replacing cords and whatever things needed to be replaced if we had something that was broken or needed to be added. And that's what we've done. But now, I don't know if that's right or not.
Currently, there's 41 set aside there, and she's correct about the 2,500 that currently comes out of there with all 4 JPs, which does leave a balance in there that is available to do with their work. But she does bring up the larger question: computers, computer maintenance, stands heating, office supplies. Now, I know that you sent out a memo towards the beginning of the year. Anything greater than 500 or lasts longer than a year is not considered office supply, or is not considered maintenance. It is considered capital outlay. Is that still the position of the court?
I believe if it is a purchase that is something that has to do with it's gonna go beyond the use of that physical year, then it's not a maintenance. It's just that the asset lasts. So if you go buy a laptop and it's $850, $900, it's an asset that lasts beyond the physical year. If you're buying a new cord because you're broke, that's maintenance.
But that would be below the $500. Yeah. So the position is still greater than 5 and greater than 1 year.
I don't know that there's a position on the core. I'm just giving you my personal position.
Okay. Now, you said a battery?
you know, if you have battery backups, they eventually die. They don't last forever. So you would have to replace those from time to time, and of course, generally, you don't know it's going until it's about gone.
Judge, you're not buying those die-hard batteries?
No, maybe you should.
Now, would that be an office supply issue, or would that be a computer maintenance issue?
We're getting into a whole purchasing deal about us going through the entire purchasing policy to fix it.
Well, we're creating the budget for the new year.
Well, I understand. I'm just saying, we're getting into a...
I think my whole point being is if we are going to have to take smaller items like the cord, like the battery, that are not truly capital outlay items, out of office supplies, then why not move the money from the $4,100, it would be $600, why not move that into the office supplies if that's where you want to put the lower cost items? Because otherwise, it's just going to have to sit there.
So you're talking about doing away with computer maintenance and just increasing office supplies?
Sir?
You're talking about doing away with computer maintenance
No,
and just buying everything out of office supplies?
no. I'm talking about leaving the $2,500 in there to pay EDOC and taking the $600 out of computer maintenance, put it in office supplies.
To buy stuff for computers?
Sorry?
To buy stuff for computers?
Right.
Well, why not just write the PO out of computer maintenance?
That was where we came to the question.
Well, I mean, I don't understand why you're not writing it out of computer. If you're buying a new cord to replace the cord that broke on your computer, why would you not just write the PO out of computer maintenance?
That's where we got into the question.
Now, if you're talking about buying a brand new computer, then that's not maintenance.
That's not maintenance, but we have no capital outlay.
I understand we have no capital outlay. I'm just saying that's not maintenance.
Right.
So it would appear to me anything that is related to maintenance on a computer, you would buy it out of computer maintenance.
Okay.
I'm just giving you, to me that makes sense, but maybe it's apparently not that simple.
Okay, so 2,500 will come out, so the balance of that can be
I'm
just
not
used.
saying it'll come out, I'm just saying,
No.
to me, that makes sense.
They are set up on a fee schedule, $2,500 with EDOC. So 2,500 will come, 2,500 will come out of the 41. And the balance of the 41 is
And
available.
where's the 2,500 going out of for that?
Where's it coming out of?
You're talking about, you're gonna write a PO out of there for 2,500 to pay for EDOC?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So the balance is just your general computer maintenance.
I was always assuming that's what the line item meant, but
Okay, well, other offices,
apparently we've complicated it.
we have, because other offices do not have a computer maintenance line item, and
Yeah.
would you like to just fold the balance in office supplies?
If it makes everybody feel better,
Okay,
I don't care.
okay.
Still the same thing.
And we're still greater than 500, greater than 1 year. Is considered capital outlay, needs to come in front of the court.
That's up to the court. If they want to do capital at 5, then that's up to the court.
Because on our financials, we don't do anything less than 5,000. But I understand that you could have your separate rules when it comes to capital expenditures.
The other deal is you have 3 JPs that have, on that line item, it says computer maintenance.
Correct.
And then the 4th one says software. Can you just change it to?
It used to always be, that line item was always to pay for software updates and all. That's what it's always been there for. Now we've managed to get it up so big that apparently our software cost is less than that. It used to be $4,100. When we created the $4,100 account, it was because there was something that we were buying that we had to pay an annual maintenance of $4,100. I don't remember which program it was, but there was a program. We were paying $4,100 a year for the maintenance. Huh? And it may have been, I don't remember which one, but that was the reason the $4,100 wound up there to start with. And this has been several years ago. I guess that went away.
Yeah, we changed. Yeah, we changed.
So if
And we changed to a new one that now is 2,500. We just never changed the money. Because it was always there just to pay that cost. That was the original reason it was set up. That was originally why the $4,100 showed up in the budget. And it was actually supposed to come out of some fees and we were charging for something, but it never did.
So you want that line item reduced to 2,500 then?
It's up to the court.
Well, she said that,
Do we add the 1,600 then to the office supplies or travel and training? Because we generally run short on both.
everybody that got their budget's gonna be able to do.
What'd she say?
I'm saying that as long as all of us are gonna have the same ability to come up here and do the same thing, because we're gonna be moving monies around for all departments.
I like the part about cut. I didn't like the part about moving.
Well, he said. cut, but
Because
she
if all
didn't
we're
say
spending
cut.
out of that, if all we're spending out of the $4,100 is the $2,500, that's what we should be spending it on, then why, the 5% didn't really do any good since you have all that, you have the other $1,395 still there. I like the part
Oh,
about
man,
cut.
that was set up to pay the computer maintenance on that program a long time ago. That's what that money was there for. As far as travel and training is concerned, I think we're obligated to pay the statutory required travel and training. Anything above that is a decision that has to be made independent. I don't know what the statutory required training is for each department. I have no clue.
I do.
Or what the cost is for that.
Before we get into that, I think, let's solve
But I
this.
think
The maintenance on all of them are the same on 4 precincts, about 2,500? Yes?
I would suggest to move it into the county software and maintenance program. The one that takes care of everybody,
can do that.
renewals and softwares and sonic walls and all those,
Yeah, but
all contracts.
the question's just been brought up, and Commissioner Nettleton hit on a point here. When we set up the $4,100, it was because that's what it was costing us. If it's only gonna cost us $2,500 now, then take all that line item away, and,
Move it to the,
out of
to the county software.
county software, but we're not gonna move $3,895 times 4. You move $2,500 times 4
No,
to
I
save
mean,
the difference.
Yeah, I mean, that was the creation of that line item. It was to pay that cost, and apparently it went down, so.
I mean, to me, it would make sense
The amount should reduce.
to take them
because It was
out.
never intended to be for anything other than to pay the cost of the maintenance of that original program.
I can't see anymore. To me, you just do away with the line items and only add to the computer maintenance, whatever, firewall, sonnet, whatever. Think of a clean word, whatever you're going to do.
All the rest of those are covered by the.
Except these.
5,000.
Except these.
Except that.
Okay, so then you'd have a savings there of $1,395. You do 2,500 times 4, put that in that account, and then you have a savings of 1,395 times 4 that you're not gonna use.
But there are other things that we have to pay for in the software, for instance,
You said right now that you spent about $600 out of that account. I heard a $600 number. Is that right?
1,600, I said 1,600.
That you spend out of that account?
Or,
No, I'm saying we paid 2,500 to EDOC,
Mhm.
leaving 1,600.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's $1,600 more than EDOC. But what we do is we buy other things, including the protection software and
much
replace
is that?
batteries and all of those things.
How much is that?
Taking it out of the county software maintenance program.
And why didn't you tell us that?
That's where the POs are drawn from.
So it's all good then, so all they really needed was the 2,500, they didn't need the rest, so we can keep the rest.
That just started last year.
Okay, that's cool.
Frank,
I think that that's one of the big problems that we have here, is we as department heads don't know what's happening. Apparently, we've been doing this for some time, no one told us. And how are we to manage our money if we don't know where the money's at and where it's going? No one
Never
tells us
drew anything
things.
out of that budget.
Can you get them something showing for that specific line item what has been drawn, that way they know where it's at?
I'll get with,
Which
with
line
IT, and he has the list of.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
Licenses and software that are coming out of that account.
that's their line item. Every judge has a line item, and it says, well, every one of their line items, can you get them for all 4 judges? What is in their balance, like what we
They,
get up here?
they have access to that.
Okay. Could you get it to them again? Would you mind?
You mean, you want the line item opened up?
I want them to be able to see that computer maintenance, that $2,500 came out, what the balance is, and if there's been any other charges come out of it. Okay, that would be possible.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
But
sir.
Mr. Miskis is saying it coming out of the general fund, it's not coming out of our.
Well, and that's how come, if he's saying that, we need something to be able to back that up,
Okay.
okay?
Anybody else?
I don't know, the air was pretty much let out of my sails, so I'm done.
All right, in this adjustment, how are we handling the church?
I think, the law is pretty clear about the money can only be used in the areas that it was created.
Okay, so you want to
I think
split that?
It's up to the court, but I think it needs to be moved to the areas that fall within the bounds of it and then split based off of the same formula that we currently use.
Okay.
But
So
that's up to the court.
We'll capture it back, and we'll give it to the presiding.
Just make a motion. And if
Precincts.
it goes, it goes.
I'll make a motion that the TRIZ money conform with the statute and be placed in the areas and divided off the same calculation that we divide road and bridge funding.
Okay. And then someone can provide that calculation.
Well, we had 85, I think his budget's 85, mine's 80. So whatever that works out to, that before the TRIZ was put in.
Okay. So we have the TRIZ, but the TRIZ is recaptured back.
Mhm.
What's the percentage between 2 and 3?
Whatever, 85,000 and 80,000, whichever that percentage is.
Got it.
He had more money in his than I had in mine before the TRIZ were actually put in.
So it's 80 and 85?
Well,
Okay.
you want me to give you a percentage?
No, we will
Okay.
do it for that.
Because I can get your percentages.
No, that's fine.
Excuse me, there's a motion. I need a second for that.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? Anything else, Matt?
No, that's it, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna adjust
Well, we're on
it.
the,
Today, recess, what do we wanna do?
well, while we're on the travel and training deal, why are all the JP's travel and training not the same? They're all different. The amount that we budget for travel and training is completely different in every single
That, I don't know.
JP's
That's what
account.
they asked for.
Yeah, that last year, we actually had a long, lengthy discussion on it, and depending on what they were doing, this is what we said.
And you say, Counselor, you have a statutory,
I sure do. For the JPs, it's 80 hours during the first year in office and 20 hours annually thereafter.
How many?
20?
But then I'm not sure about their clerks, if they have any required training by law, any required training by law.
do they have required
I
training?
believe they do. Yes, and I think it's 20 hours.
But the question on that was, it was either per year or every 2 years or something, I think was.
But
the
that one
question.
is per year. There's different ones.
Well, we're not gonna fix all that, but at some point, we need to try to look at that, in my opinion, and figure out what the statutory required training is for everybody, not just JP's, and what that cost is to go to that statutory training.
Okay.
Well, I have all that. Not the cost.
Not yet.
I have all the electives.
Can I make a comment about that?
Mhm.
Go ahead.
We go to a lot of training. I feel like it's very important, and like when we go to the legislative training, they throw so much at us at one time, it's really hard to absorb it and be able to come home and implement all those things immediately. So they, throughout the year, they have specific training sessions regarding specific types of law. And it's really important that we be able to have some finer training on the things that are more appropriate to our court. For instance, we don't have a lot of truancy, so we don't really need to do a whole lot of truancy training. But we do have juvenile cases, and we have other kinds of cases that we really need to be sure about what we're doing. And my thinking is that we need to invest all that we can in training, because by law, we need to get it right. We need to be able to help our citizens with civil cases, We need to make sure that even for the criminal cases, that we do the right thing and do it the right way. And I think it's very important that we have that training. My staff is a staff of 3 and myself, so that is more than are saying in some offices and less than in others. Judge Foz has more people, he has 5, I think. But it's very important that we have that training.
Can y'all rotate the people that go instead of having everybody go? Like everybody goes to a different one?
I would suppose that it's a possibility, but there's a lot of training that is given there. And, maybe one person absorbs a point or an area better than another one. And then when we come home, we have like training sessions amongst ourselves. We go through the training material all over again. Did you get this? Because some of our staff members work more on one thing than they do another, so we need to make sure everybody understands that. And so we go through the training again when we get home. We work really hard at trying to do the right thing and do it the right way.
I totally agree with you.
Sure. Go ahead.
Judge, Commissioners, I just want to address the court. As far as the travel and training, I do agree with Judge Cole. As you well know, the elections are coming up next year, and for whatever reason, if there should be a new judge get elected, I guarantee you that with the first 20 hours, it's not going to hack it. It's going to need extensive training for a new person to try and learn the system so they can better serve the community. In addition to, last year I was privileged to be selected as Director of District 6 for the South Texas Justice of the Peace and Constables Association. We're responsible for actually putting the itinerary together for judges as constables when having meetings. And taking in participation in that role, there's additional training that we have to go to meetings to try to put these sessions together for them. So if you just do the mandatory, there would be no representative from District 6, which covers 8 counties, and they already hadn't been represented in, I believe, 9 or 10 years. So by taking on that added responsibility, I think that it even helps the community as representation to an entity like that. But if you restrict that, then we would have to totally do away with that. And we're kind of taking a step backwards instead of taking a step forward. I'd just like to throw that at you.
And so the minimum required powers wouldn't be a factor.
All right, anybody else? Okay, now let's move up.
Judge?
Yes.
This is a public hearing, so
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Anybody else?
Well, I thought you meant anybody else, like any department
No,
head or
anybody.
elected officials. Oh, very good. Thank you for that clarification. My name is Sandra Fuentes. I'm co-chair of the board organization. And here to keep the request of $130,000 for the women's shelter. I know we spoke with you, and we spoke with you, Commissioner Wardlaw. And I know that it's tight every year. It seems like it's a tight budget. But the county has most graciously, with Commissioner Owen's guidance, building, I guess, a bigger women's shelter. So therefore, not only does the need stays the same, but actually grows. As you all know, the city has committed to $30,000 for this fiscal year. We don't know what the city's going to do for the next year. So just to ask that the $130,000 supports remain.
In the budget, it's been cut, Mrs. Fuentes, and maybe you can explain that a little bit.
Okay.
in the line item that was there, that had the 130, it was cut to 100. The problem is,
Correct.
he actually came up with another process that him and the judge were actually visiting on. So at the end of the day, they probably end up getting the same amount.
Oh, that's all I need to know?
It would, it was,
If it's 130,000, then how you got there?
We just did it different.
Just get it there.
Yeah, and it was one of the deals, I think.
Hold on, man.
Well, real quick, it was one of the deals, I mean, this court has been trying to find ways on how to bring in more income in order to offset some of the burden towards the taxpayer. And I think with, Commissioner Nettleton's been hammering on that for a while, and then all this came about, and Matt has started looking to try to figure out how to do it. And when we first saw it, all of the court was like, what happened? But Matt and the judge had come up with, Matt had visited with the judge, and they come up with another way to fund it.
okay. There is approximately roughly $30,000 in a family violence. It's a $15 divorce. And our balance up there is around $32,000. So what we did is we reduced the balance down to 100. Then we had the 5% cut. That's why it's sitting at 95. I can bring that back up to 100, and then we can use the $15 filing fee, which has a balance to cover the other 30, if you would like to continue doing that. Now, going forward, we are anticipating more revenues coming into that fund.
I would leave
And
it
it should
at
be paid out of that fund, as much as possible.
That's what I'm saying, we leave it at the 95 and then make it up with the fund.
Well, we're not going to be able to make it up front. Well, we
If
could
you're
probably
saying-
by the end of the year.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
by the end
we
of the
pay
year.
it quarterly, we don't pay it at one lump sum.
Mhm.
So we should be okay.
And Matt,
There's
how
only
long
3,000.
has that fund been sitting? How long did it take you to get to accumulate $30,000, do you know?
I don't know.
Have we ever spent money from that fund?
No, not that I believe so.
And the thing is though, that during this year, we're trying to do everything we can to cut a little bit to where the next year, with other things that are coming online, and if they get more funding from the city, we might even be able to drop it, or if necessary, leave it at the same.
Well, and just so the court will know, it isn't like, the organization has been working with the Clark counties in trying to find funding. So one of the meetings that we've had was with the healthcare ministries, and they said, please apply. So there might be some funds there. We also went up to the state capitol, and Senator Uristi's person told us, tell us where to find the money. Well, I don't know. That's why you're in this position. We're asking for money. So there is, the state, forget about it. Might be a little bit of hope with the healthcare ministries, Methodist healthcare ministries. But just for clarification, 130,000. Okay, so I don't need to know how the menudo's made as long as there's menudo. Okay?
That's a good.
Also,
You really don't want to know.
Sit here and I'm listening to the back and forth on raises and salaries and stuff. And it's almost deja vu. It's almost every year we have the same conversation. And I'm just going to use the sheriff's department as an example, because that's the one department I have a little bit of experience in trying to get more money for the deputies. It's very hard for a person going into law enforcement not knowing what he's going to earn in 3 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in. Police, they know. They have a pay scale. And I think that it would behoove, and I know it's hard to get there, it would behoove the county to have a pay scale, if possible, for every department. You have to start somewhere. I don't know when the commissioner said if there's a way, if there's a will, there's a way. I think it would be good if we start somewhere and have a pay scale, so that way every county employee coming into a position knows what their base pay is going to be. They're going to know what their pay is going to be 5 years from their starting year, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, to determine whether they want to make this a career or not. Commissioner, what you're shaking your head. I don't think you like that idea,
No,
but it makes sense to me. I know that if I was
tried.
a deputy, I want to know what I'm going to be earning 10 years
Well,
from
your
now.
deputy, if you were here in the last 4 years, you've gone from 24,000 to 34,000.
No argument there.
Okay, the problem with the pay scale is, and that I've seen is that, and just 1 of 5, because everybody, I've tried to do it.
I've tried many times and it's shot down every single time.
The problem is that we don't understand, we don't know exactly what's coming in. Our revenues are down. We had, our projected beginning cash balance for the fiscal year that we're in wasn't 1.9. We're $1 million short. You know, so if I tell a deputy, look, in 5 years you're gonna get this, I'm gonna be lying to him.
And so that, I wonder, do most counties in the state?
I have no idea. I know
They
that
budget year
They
to
don't
year.
have any
We
pay
budget
scale.
every year. Well, they have
don't
a pay scale structure that you fall within, but it doesn't guarantee that in 5 years you're gonna make X amount of money. What it means is that within that pay scale, when raises are available, they have to fall within that pay scale, and it's based upon, job descriptions and what you do, and as you move on, you fall within that scale.
And I heard what
And the
Ms.
cities is pretty close to the same thing.
Okay, so that's better than what we have, because what we have, and I think this is
Well, it's
what
come
Ms.
to this
Smith was
court
saying.
3 years in a row, and it's been voted down every single time.
Well, the way the county has been doing it, and I'm not knocking it, you know, if
So
you
we-
go from a
so
starting
we get an
salary of
attaboy.
24,000 to 34,000 for a starting pay for a deputy, that's a good thing. But I think what happened in the meantime is that you have a brand-new deputy coming in, and there's just maybe a $1,000 or $2,000 short of what someone's been there for 8 years. I think that's what happened in the past. And I understand where Ms. Smith is coming from. The system that we have presently, and I hear what you're saying, this is the best that we can do with what we have, because we don't know how much revenue is coming in, is that you're literally at the mercy, the employees of the county are literally at the mercy of the court. And you're picking and choosing. You don't agree with that
No, I
statement?
know, because I can tell you that we're up here, we look at the budget, and it's not us. I mean, we're looking at the numbers. Now, there's some stuff that I don't agree with, but you took a vote, we went on. But it's how much money I have coming in. Last year, with the dollars that were presented to us, that this is what we're gonna have beginning balance, this is what we're gonna have, we went we've gone from 16,000 when I got here. Laura went from 16 to 19. And then this court, the way it sits right now, we've gone from 19 to 21,450, I think, base pay. I mean, and it was dictated by the amount of money we had, and all of us sitting up here know that some of our employees ain't getting paid enough. We understand that. But I think we've done the best. You know, when you give out 29% of what your budget was in raises over a period of 7 years, just went through that. That's a lot of money.
And I guess what I'm trying to
And
say
we're
is that
trying
there's
to
going to
get
be
them
a
up.
smarter way of doing it. And also, just out of curiosity, when's the last time that the county raised taxes? I'm not
Raised
talking
taxes?
about bonds or anything like that.
Last year, we raised taxes 2 cents. Before that, it had been 21 years. Last year, we raised it 2 cents. What we did a week ago today, we raised it 3.9 cents.
Technically, we're gonna follow the law. We have raised taxes every single year for the last 16 years. Because your effective rate and your current rate are 2 different things.
All right.
And in order to generate the same revenue, you would adopt your effective rate. We have always maintained the same rate, which is usually a 1 or 2 cent difference, which is basically a 1 or 2 cent tax increase every single year. And it's based off of appraisals. The rate doesn't, but the appraised values increase it. So it's still considered a tax increase.
But the actual rate had not increased in 21 years, 21, 22 years. Up until last year, where the actual rate increased 2 cents. This year, it's 3.9
And obviously, that
cents.
has hurt us even, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, you know, what makes the world go around is, I'm sorry to say, no, I'm not sorry to say, it's taxes. You know, we cannot say we want a women's shelter and we want this and we want that if we're not
In
willing
this
to
court,
fess
Mrs.
up
Fuentes,
with
this
it.
court, the way it is now and the way before, you look, you know, the previous court, we've taken on a lot of tasks. We've taken on a lot. I mean, we've got water lines going in every precinct. We've taken on a lot. And to remain with the same actual rate for all those years, I mean, the court really has to be commended on it, even though you could say, well, they could have gone, well, yeah, but, you know, they were trying to do the best they could with what they had, And I think, even before I got here, they did a good job. And I think while we've been here, we've done a good job. You know, and then there's a room for improvement, of course. But, you know, it's awful hard to keep going out. We did 2 cents, we do 3.9 this year, and, you know.
We haven't yet. We haven't yet. We haven't yet.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I don't know how we get away with
But
it.
Commissioner, nobody's criticizing the overall. Seriously, that's the thing about it, when you're doing a good job, and I think y'all have done a good job, I really do. But that doesn't mean that you can't criticize something.
No, my statement there was we can do better. I mean,
No,
I
I'm talking
agree
about
with
one
you.
thing.
Huh?
You can do better in that one thing.
We can give out raises every single year. It's simply a matter of raising taxes to do it. We can do a 1 or 2 cent tax increase every single year and hand out pay raises. Our current payroll, considering everything, is what percentage of our budget?
59%. 59 to 60% of our budget when you don't include GEO. And you look at other counties, which Matt's done the homework, they're in the 47 to 57, most of them are in the 47 to 51%.
Which is fine when you treat everyone the same.
We will get to the point, at some point, where our budget will consume so much, our salaries will consume so much of our budget that there is nothing left to work with. There's no materials, there's no nothing.
Right, it's just a food for thought. I know that a couple of years ago, maybe, it was across the board, increases, including elected officials and, department heads. Maybe when next time there's a raise, it should be just for your regular employee and not elected officials or department heads.
Well, I can tell you about
completely
that.
disagree.
I've taken the bite 3 years in a row. Not all elected officials, just certain elected officials didn't get a raise. 3 years in a row, I didn't get a raise. So, yeah, and I'm not talking, it wasn't across the board.
And then raises were capped in 1 year, correct?
Yeah, we did one year we did 5%, 4%, 2%, depending on what you were getting paid.
But nobody that was sitting at the table during that time, they all got raises. And see, that's what I'm saying, that's how it works, because this is where all, yeah, you can.
No, you're right. I'm laughing because you're right. But I can tell you, I started at 30-some odd thousand, didn't even realize I was going to get a paycheck from Mr. Muski's told me, the guy that was here before. But I wouldn't have stayed a second term unless I'd have got paid a little bit more for the second term.
And therefore,
I spent a lot of time here.
That's why I used the mercy of the court, because the mercy of the court was, okay, the county attorney doesn't get a raise, but we get a raise. And so that's what, I didn't.
What year did you not get a pay raise, Councilman?
There were 3 years in a row. I'll have to look it up, but there were 3 years.
It hasn't been since 2011.
No.
Other employees, that everybody else in the county got one except you,
No, except for the top 4. I
that
think
didn't get
elected
anything.
Did not
There's
get
the
a raise.
people over 80,000, but that was before 2011. Last year, we gave out 1,700.
And I
Mrs.
didn't
Fuentes, when you
complain.
leaving, you
I
started
didn't
something.
complain.
Go ahead,
No,
Mr.
but she just proved what I was trying to articulate. You know, it is not across the board. It was, she didn't get a raise for 3 years.
Yeah, but it wasn't with this court. It wasn't with this court.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
It does matter,
It's the
because-
mentality.
It does matter because this
Regardless-
court and the previous court, Mrs. Smith, I mean, we've tried to be extremely fair.
But
Have we messed up
regardless,
every now and then?
regardless
Of
of
course.
who's sitting at the table, these people are always going to get preferential, your employees are always going to get preferential treatment because you know their needs, you know what good jobs, a good job badge or whatever, but you don't know my employees and you don't know the other employees. And I can tell you the other thing, when I took office, when I took office, I reduced my pay substantially so that my people could make money.
I hope I don't come across it. I don't think that the court should not get paid.
Oh, no,
You
I'm
get paid.
I'm sticking
You know
on
what?
the attaboy.
Commissioner, for those of you that don't know, Commissioner Owens is my commissioner. And
I noticed that.
he, no,
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
he is always working. I know I see Commissioner Nettleton up at the state capitol all the time. I know, by and large, you work. And you deserve to get paid. But I'm just saying that there's some kind of injustice, if you will. If you have
You were doing so
people
good.
that, no, there's always going to be a but. That the people in the bottom get raise before the people at the top.
And we did. Since 2011, I can tell you right now that since 2011, this court, and even the previous court before that, we've given raises to try to raise our people that were at 16. You go from 16 to 21,450 in 6 years. Not only that, last year we did $1,750 per employee, plus a 1% raise. The year before that, we went and we gave, I think, $1,000 or something. And then the year before that, in order so the people under 30,000 could sort of catch up and make a little bit more, because we only had X amount of money to use, we gave a higher rate for the people below 30,000, or right between 30 and 50, you got X, and if you were making 70, 80, 170,000, you got X as a percentage.
Good job.
You know,
No, I'm serious. Good job.
Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jerry, you had your time. Go ahead.
Well, I forgot to tell you all this, but, I know you cut the budget 5%, correct? Okay. The truck that Lewis went way up north and bought us broke down. I'll quit pumping. We're down to one engine now, and it's gonna cost quite a bit to take to San Antonio to get it fixed. I don't know how much, but a pump in that truck runs from $15,000 to $20,000.
Well, I do have one more thing. I'm sorry.
What?
No, I have one more thing, and it's not controversial or anything. But I know that y'all know that County Court of Law didn't get their drug court grant renewed, but y'all have 2 positions in the budget for drug court. And
Drug? DWI.
For County Court of Law, I'm sorry.
That's the GWI.
The positions,
It's a special.
the grant's gone away, but you have the positions.
The 46,
The 46 and.
we already talked about that.
And the 23.
I didn't see this, I didn't catch the
And it's in the
20.
budget, and if somebody wants to hire, and it's in the budget, they will.
Okay, we talked about the 46, we didn't talk about the 23. And if you need to get the truck to San Antonio, we need to go ahead and get the truck to San Antonio, we can haul it.
It'll drive, but it just won't pump.
Okay.
I can drive it.
Well, you need, what's the estimate on it?
Don't know if they can get it.
Okay. Can you get it to them? I mean, we can't afford to have just one, we can't afford to have just back to one truck.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, get us a price.
Isn't our, engine paid off this year?
I don't know.
I think there's only one payment. We only owe one payment on the other, one more year.
Okay.
One more year or one payment? Well, in March. Correct.
Okay. We still need to get something fixed.
All right.
Well, get us a price so we can figure out what we're gonna do.
You can get a new engine and finance it and won't have a payment for a year. It's the same rate, and ours will be paid off in March.
Yeah, but we still gotta find the money to continue the payment.
Well, you find $20,000 every year somewhere.
Where is it, Counselor?
Sorry,
Where is it? The 23?
127. It's 127.
I don't have 23 in mine.
127.
There you go.
I have a probation
Down at the.
officer at 46, okay, I see. The DWI, the next one.
Yeah.
The DS, okay.
Yeah,
So that one needs to be removed. But that was grant funding, right?
That's grant funding. Now the grant funding is no longer there.
So we need to
That
remove
position will
it.
be removed.
And then we still need to address the issue of their court reporter,
Yes, you do.
which is at 52,000 is under what they're able to get somebody for.
That's what you currently
And
have set in our
from
budget.
what Judge, they gave us a Texas border one,
Mhm.
I think there was a recommendation of about 63 to find a person for that position.
Yeah, 65, I think. To be compatible with district court.
Hernandez. Yeah,
Yeah.
that figure would be around 64. So that figure would
The 63rd is at 64,
Yeah,
155, the 83rd is at 63, 810,
they would want to go with 63,
63.
And the argument there was that they travel, that's what the judges said. But I don't know if they get a stipend for that or not.
Well,
I don't think they do.
they are receiving funds from other counties. It's more than just travel, so.
Yeah, that sounds right. When they travel, the counties.
Pardon?
Yeah, the counties contribute to that.
Yeah.
But,
In the county court of law, we're obligated to fund the whole thing.
Yes.
And we can't do it at 52, or we haven't been able to get somewhere.
We have?
We've advertised the positions. He's gotten 3 applicants, but I don't know what he's decided.
So he's gotten 3 applicants, and the 3 applicants know that it's going to be 52.
Yeah, they know the pay, but his is a base pay, it's at 52. 83rd and 63rd do not have a base
Base
pay.
pay.
Yeah, but that's ordered by them.
yeah,
They set their own.
the district
so,
court
you know.
has that authority, but county court of law doesn't.
But I don't know if the judge does it with his people. I know right now he has Patty of Beta coming in. And I believe she's doing contract labor.
Yes.
How much is that running?
Well, I don't have that breakout right now. However, the court reporters the new treatment on them is they're going to be treated as W-2s, coming in even though they're visiting. So that is an additional $765 cost to the county.
I mean,
Treated like
at the end of the day, are they gonna pass the 52, so it would behoove us to go ahead and go to the 62? I mean, it's all about dollars, like Ms. Winters just said. And what's the dollar amount? I mean, are we gonna end up paying more money than the 62 when everything's said and done?
I can't calculate that. It would depend on how
many cases?
How many cases he puts out.
What have we done this fiscal year? I mean, can we go by percentage to see how they're going or something, or just so we can come up with an idea?
Yeah, I can get that rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if we can come up with an idea, and I mean, if we need to go to the 62s, it's gonna save us money, then it is what it is.
I'm curious about the 3 applicants. You got 3 applicants at 52?
Yes, well, and one of them, she lives in San Antonio. She wanted to come in and do the per diem deal. And then the other 2 were interested in the position, but I don't know.
Which one lives in San Antonio? One of the applicants?
One of the applicants.
And then there's another one in Alpine that's Wade, but.
And then there was one in Eagle Pass. I forwarded the applications to the judge.
So I guess we need to figure out what he's gonna do first.
Okay.
And then if you can get us those numbers, then we'll figure out what we're gonna do. If they don't work.
Yeah, you want, of course, last year, and then this year prorated.
And if we can just figure something out, and I mean, if they're willing to take the 52, doesn't have the 52. But we don't know whether they're gonna take the job or not.
And they're qualified. Yes, they have.
They can type.
Yeah, they're certified.
This was back in May. I don't know. I mean, we've had this position posted. Jesus Christ.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right, let's move on to item 6. Discuss possible action to change the name of Broadband Avenue to Jesus Jesse Cardenas Lane. Need a motion for that?
Judge, I'll make that motion. It's about a mile and a half of the Broadbent Road that's out of the city limits.
Yeah.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Should we look into how, what the steps are to do that? Or don't know that that's the way to do it?
Well, I was gonna ask the question is, how hard are you gonna be? I mean, what do we need to do?
We have to adopt it, we have to contact Millville Graham, have it changed there to the 911 system. And then the post office has to be notified as to the change.
You're gonna go do it?
And, so yeah, there's a process.
You're gonna go do
Same
it?
thing they did when they did Veterans Boulevard.
Yeah, but just start the process now. All right, there's a motion, a second. Everybody said aye?
Aye.
Okay, let's go to item 7. Discuss possible action, change the name of County Road leading to Loma La Cruz Cemetery to Loma Alta.
The Loma de la Cruz Road has never been named. I'd like to make a motion that it be named Loma de la Cruz Lane.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nobody. Item 8, discuss possible action regarding the bid submission for 2017-2018 defined term purchases, commodities, and services such as fuel, road construction material, uniforms, janitorial, pest control, and beverage services.
I provided a bid summary to each one of the commissioners. It's been in your packet.
Entertain a motion for that.
We're gonna do them one at a time, or all at once?
We can go with road materials first, and then we can break it down into fuel, and then miscellaneous. Road materials, we sent out 7 packets, got 4 returned. We got CSA Materials Incorporated in Marietta, Martin Marietta Materials, and each precinct and location has been quoted.
I'll make a motion to adopt CSA.
There's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? Thank you. All right.
On Vulcan Materials, we see no change from last year's quote, and for the road material, which would be your aggregates and your paving.
That includes,
That's to each location, and then Marietta, Martin Marietta had a 3% on the LRAs and 8.3% on the pre-coat.
I'll make a motion to accept Vulcan.
There's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody?
3 packets were sent out for oil, 1 returned Alamo asphalt, and there is no difference from last year's.
This has been a problem in the past because they don't always have the material available. There are some other vendors out there. If we accept them and they don't have the material available, then are we stuck not being able to get it? Or do we just,
No, you'll just have to override your order.
motion to accept Alamo?
It's a motion, I need a second. Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nobody?
On the second page is the tabulation for fuel. 3 packages went out, 1 returned, and that's West Texas.
Motion to accept.
There's a motion, need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
On miscellaneous, pest control, 3 packets went out, 3 returned. Gold Star, $809 a quarter. MDK Services, $901 a quarter. And Integrity Pass at $704 a quarter.
Who's Integrity? They bid bid or not?
No, they haven't bid before.
No, we've never gone out for bids.
He'd actually, Integrity, A to C or something, the big company out of San Antonio, this guy used to work for it, and he ended up opening up his own company.
Motion to accept Integrity.
There's a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody?
Janitorial services, 2 packets went out, 2 returned. Ernesto Salazar Company, $4,250, paid for $51,000 a year. That was a decrease of 0.5% from last year. De La Paz Cleaning, $4,499, which is $53,988. And this is the first
Who's
year.
De La Paz? Is that the DLP?
Yeah.
DLP, yeah.
DLP. Are we still continuing to have problems with
Over and over and over.
Who's which one?
the current one?
I mean, for $2,000?
I'll make a motion to accept De La Paz Cleaning.
There's a motion. Need a
Second.
Second, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody?
Coffee service, 4 packets went out, 2 came back. DS Waters, and Quill. And Quill, we had to eliminate them because they provided all their documentation, but forgot to give us the pricing.
But you have,
So we only have 1, DS Waters. And Amistad Snacks did not submit, which is our current supplier.
that's for water or
That is
coffee?
for coffee service.
Coffee. So we're not gonna have coffee?
And DS Waters also provides our water.
Who uses coffee service?
Your office.
Besides our office, who uses it?
Does Steady use it?
All of
Upstairs.
the court, I'm sorry, county courthouse, which is first floor, second floor, and third floor.
Not my
Is it not cheaper just to go to Walmart and buy the coffee and buy a machine?
It's cheaper just to cut it.
No, it's cheaper to go buy a machine and buy the coffee, because that's what
Can.
Mary Ann would go do every now and then.
Unless you do the personal cup, the The current.
No, we're not
that's
gonna
not
do-
No,
going.
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just regular coffee machine.
It is less expensive at work.
Okay, then why don't we just buy the one?
You have to do a decline.
Motion to decline.
There's a motion and a second.
Is there anything they furnish that we got to have that we can't buy at Walmart?
No. And the machine and everything, we can get out of San Antonio pretty cheap.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
lot itself. Oh, I
Yes.
said, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? Is that it?
Water service, DS Waters and LS Waters. We only have one, which was DS Waters. And
That's for the
no
big,
increase from last year. No.
that's the big ones and the
And
bottles.
just the large ones and
And is it cheaper here or Walmart?
we don't buy single cans from DS Waters. They're more expensive.
We don't have any rights to the San Pedro Spring. Or the bottles of water there.
Well, y'all do have water
You like
trucks,
cheaper?
we just need a storage container.
Need a motion for that?
Motion to accept.
Motion?
Second.
Second? Okay. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nobody? Thank you.
Uniform services, we sent 3 packets out, received 2.
Then first came in cheaper.
We actually only received 1 packet. G&K Services was bought out by Cintas, and Cintas did not send in a quote. So therefore, UniFirst is the only.
So the G&K service
No.
bid here,
I'm just looking at them like, we didn't get that.
so it doesn't exist.
It does not exist. I'll have to make a correction to that. So there's only 1 bid that was turned in, and that's UniFirst. And that's actually 44% lower than J&K is currently.
After they ripped us off for 20 years, they finally went down the road.
Can we clarify that?
After UniFirst ripped us off for 20 years, they finally got reasonable.
Probably about 5 years ago, we did bring it up to their attention that there were some fees that should not have been charged.
Okay, need a motion for that?
So moved.
Move. Need a second?
So, which one are we?
It's UniFirst, going to a new uniform provider.
Motion and second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nobody? Okay.
What else?
One of the deals that's gonna come back before us, before we actually do our budget, finish our budget and contract services, is gonna be the maintenance at the library and here at the courthouse. That expense is gonna be about $19,500 between the library and the courthouse. And you've got the.
I had discussed that
With the contract services, it's about $19,500.
additional maintenance.
Mhm.
And I had asked
Yeah.
him to put that
Now,
under the maintenance.
I don't know if we put it under maintenance or under contract services, because either one, it's about $19,500
Is
more.
that the same account? That's the same account. Is that the same fund?
Yeah, it's in parks, but we have a maintenance, we have a, like utilities and whatever, and then we have an actual contract maintenance. So I throw in the contract maintenance. That way I can't touch it. Contract services, yes.
Contract services.
$19,500 more.
Additional?
Yeah, the library is about.
Just for the
8,000
filters.
Just to do the, yeah.
Just the new filters.
For them to come down twice, it's about 8,000, and then you have filter on top of that.
Monthly.
They gave us a price per month. The guy in San Antonio said that it'd probably better quarterly, but I told him the amount of dirt that was here maybe every 2 months. So
Why were we told monthly?
the machines that were put in by the train technicians gave a bid quarterly, said they didn't need it more than quarterly. We got a bid from a local individual by the month, and when he's gone already go look at it a couple of times, he thought that it'd be better every 2 months instead of quarterly like the technicians in San Antonio had said. The actual work on the machines will be done by the same train that installed them, that way we keep our warranties. And just changing filters do not void our warranty by somebody else.
Okay. Is that
You
it?
got a bid on that?
That would have to,
Yeah, they've got it.
Yeah.
they would have to increase that line item.
Yeah, by 19.5. Yeah. Well, it's gonna go up, how much you say? Well, the thing is though, that we just added a couple $1,000 because we went with the other contract cleaning crew. So we added 2,000.
2,000 on this, on the,
Yeah. So he'll get with you and I'll just put the numbers in. That work?
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to item number 9, discuss possible action regarding authorization to enter into agreement with San Felipe Consolidated Independent School District to barter trade excess library equipment for portable building.
This is Barber.
I know it says barber, but it's barter.
Barter.
You're just looking for permission to negotiate.
Yes.
Motion to authorize the judge to negotiate.
Okay, motion, I need a second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed?
Judge, did we close the hearing on the budget?
Yes. All right, item 10, discuss possible action on enacting a 90-day burn ban.
Move.
So moved. This is second. Okay, all those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye, all those opposed? Nobody? Thank you, 5-0. Item 11. Item 11, discuss possible action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez to issue Sergeant James Sunderland a county credit card.
Move. Second.
So there's a motion, second. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nobody? 5-0. Right, and last item is item 12, discuss possible action to allow the accrual of holiday hours for telecommunication operators to be extended to January 31st, 2018.
Yes, currently, our operators, because being short-handed, they're losing time, we can't afford to give them off. They've already lost 5 operators that we do have. They've lost 290 hours of holiday leave.
How does they lose it?
We weren't able to take it off, Commissioner. Some of them are even earning comp time because of the shortage there. We have 2, actually we have 3 dispatchers that are fully trained and on their own, but they're training someone else. So we don't have enough personnel to go around to train the new operators. So we have also...
Our policy says they lose it on holiday pay?
Within 30 days.
How many operators do you have?
A total of 6 plus 1 from the National Park Service.
I don't think you can legally do that. They're not losing their comp time, are they?
No, they're earning comp time, as it says on the book for a year. Comp stay at a maximum, but somewhere over the maximum already because of that.
Well, there's no maximum on comp time.
Yeah, but they continue to earn. We have what we allow them to carry over. So we try to get them to that number down on the comp time.
I'm not convinced that you can lose holiday pay.
That's on the books, 30 days.
I'm not convinced that with their labor standards, you can legally take that pay away. I understand vacation and those issues, but I'm not convinced you can do it.
Matt, is that in the personnel policy manual?
Yes.
Specific about holidays? And the personnel policy manual was reviewed by TAC?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's extend it. Could we extend it?
Well, we haven't done anything yet.
Well, I need a motion for that.
Well, I'd extend it. Well, or do you need to know today? I mean, because if you're gonna extend it till January, we still have 2 or 3 months. I mean,
Yeah, they've already lost, right now they don't have any. They've already lost them as of June, I believe. They lost some time because they've gone beyond the 30 days, but we're going into the holiday season and having 30 days, they'll start losing those days. I think there's
Why extend it? I don't get it. Why extending it till, how would that help?
If they don't have any, what do we extend? Or they do have some.
Some of them do have some, well, they have the July, that's fixing to go away.
Okay.
Okay, so we're coming into the holiday season. There's a lot of holidays in this. They won't be able to take those holidays within 30 days. This is just something to try to protect.
So you're asking us to currently extend any holidays that may or may not, that may come up in the future?
Yes, sir.
So this keeps them from losing.
Yes. It gives
I'll make
them,
a motion.
Okay, there's a motion. Need a
I'll
second.
make a second as long as the motion is for any existing, and then we need to fix the whole problem.
Any existing,
Whatever they have on the books that they haven't lost.
well, the only thing they have on the books is July 4th, right?
it should be July 4th.
Yeah.
They
already lost it?
What's 30 days?
It's 30, after 30 days.
Then that's fine. Until we can figure it out.
Okay, there's a motion, second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nobody? Okay, nothing else, means adjourned.
Thank you.